I feel like we're in like podcast energy right now. I feel like we're recording.
Hello and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get to sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me is Bill.
Hi, everyone.
And TJ.
Hello. Whenever you do your intro, I always think that you're going to go, and Lorenzo De Felici.
Really?
Yeah. In the back of my mind.
Oh.
Wrong podcast. What is it, Bill?
So, just a few seconds ago, before we started recording, we were talking about the media play symbol, and the green thing was a book.
Yes,
they carried books. Book.
I remember
music note.
I remember the logo just being really weird to me as a kid.
They didn't really sell that many books, though.
So
There
there
was a
was
small
it?
section
No,
in the
they
back.
had a huge book section.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did, and they had a huge pog section.
That's funny
too.
because I don't remember there being books at Media Play
Really?
either.
I
There
bought-
was a small section in the back. They had a couple racks of magazines and a couple racks of books, but it wasn't that big.
Man, even their logo is made out of things that
I
don't
think
exist
Media
anymore.
Play was more of a local thing, so the majority of people listening right now have no idea what
No,
we're
it
talking
wasn't.
Media-
It was
Media
a
Play
about. It
national.
wasn't huge. It wasn't like Best Buy.
I think it was like Best Buy.
Yeah, dude.
I think it was a nationwide like company. I don't know.
Yeah, this is Georgia.
No one knows what we're talking about.
Best Buy?
If you know what we're talking about,
Or Media
I'm
Play?
wrong. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'm fucking right.
We'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the Invincible podcast. We usually talk all things Invincible, and you can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We have a website, which is theinvinciblepodcast.com. Otherwise, we are also the guys that do the Oblivion Song podcast. And that is going to go live in 2 weeks, right? It's
not
usually
this
2 weeks after this, right?
It's usually the
It's
week
the
of like
12th
the
that'll go
13th.
live.
Yeah.
The 12th.
Yeah. Yeah.
12th
No.
of April.
No, yes. Yes, you're right. Oh, that's next weekend.
Yeah.
So a week from when this episode goes live. Normally there's a 2-week break, but it's moved up.
By then, we would have seen Pet Sematary,
Shazam.
Hellboy, and Shazam.
Wait, Hellboy comes out this weekend too?
Hellboy comes out. I thought Hellboy comes out the 5th.
I don't know if
wait,
I'll ever
no, it
see
does not
Hellboy.
come out.
It
this
won't come
weekend.
out the same day as Shazam.
I think it does.
Really?
No. This weekend
Is Shazam.
is
Shazam.
This weekend is Shazam.
Yes.
This weekend is Shazam.
Yes.
Yes.
And also Pet Cemetery.
Probably.
What do you mean probably, dude?
I think it is.
It is.
The trailer was crazy, but you know I'm not going to see that kind
Oh
of
my
movie.
god, it looks awesome! I can't wait. When does Hellboy come out?
Probably the week after.
It is the 13th. It's next week.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
So it'll be
Shazam.
the 12th.
It's Shazam.
Yeah.
Shazam and Pet Cemetery this weekend.
Then
and
Hellboy, and then-
and then fucking
And then nothing because Avengers is after that.
Right.
So we'll talk about it at the end of this episode probably when we get into like what other stuff we've been up to. But the next time we record this podcast, we will have seen Avengers. So
Oh wow, that's weird time travel right there.
We gotta talk movies next time.
oh yeah,
And
there's a
TV
lot of
shows.
movies next.
There's a lot going on.
A couple somewhat news items, somewhat housekeeping. We passed our 3-year anniversary of this podcast last month, and we surprise dropped our first ever just random non-numbered episode. We did a Sky High watch along.
Do we know how that went? If anybody did it? If like I know there was one person on Twitter
A
that
couple
said
people that reached out.
Yeah,
and said
Xavier
they were doing
definitely watched it.
Yeah.
Or watched along. He was the only one that was like that
Whoa,
that gave his
awesome.
feedback on it. That actually said he did it. But I mean, it seemed to have gone over well. I got a lot more plays than I expected.
It's probably the worst thing we've ever done.
It in a good way though. In a good way.
Okay, well, I mean, like anyone's
To be fair,
first
it
anything.
was a free like bonus episode.
Right.
That wasn't your
Well, they're
monthly
all
episode.
free.
You know what I mean.
and
You know
it
what
was
I mean.
and it was sky high. Like if we did something like
You know,
You know.
as we were again, I'm getting into what we're going to talk about later in the episode. As we were watching Love, Death, and Robots last night, I
That would've
kind
been-
of
yeah.
wished we would have done a watch along for something like that. I don't know, like talk about each episode after it ends.
do you
or
think
something.
a watch along would be better the first time you watch something, or it would have to be at least the
The
second
second,
time?
because the first time you're paying attention to the movie,
Right,
and the
that's
second
true.
time you're not really paying attention to the movie.
Well, I would.
I mean, you kind of are, because there are times where we talk over things.
That's true.
So yeah, check that out if you're interested in watching Sky High with us, and let us know if we should do that for anything else. I mean, to be honest, it was kind of a test to see how it would work for when the Invincible animated series or whatever eventually comes out, and what we'd do with that, just to kind of
From a technical, we can do it again. Like, from a technical aspect,
it worked.
It was very easy to do.
Yeah.
So.
Other than that, we are also now on Spotify, so you can check us out there. Give us a follow on that. Also, you guys know the directors for the Invincible animated series, Chris and Justin Copeland, the brothers. They're brothers. Recently, I don't know if it was announced or what, but Justin Copeland is the director of Batman Hush.
Really?
Yes.
I saw images.
How
and
cool
stuff.
is that?
That was cool.
I was gonna text you when I saw that they announced like voice casting and stuff for it, and I was like, about fucking time.
They released one image, but it could be
It was
from
just
anything.
Batman like throwing a
But
batarang.
when I say Hush, what do you think of?
When you say Hush,
When I say Batman Hush, what do you think of? What's
I
the
think of the
villain
Jim Lee
Hush.
like
Jim Lee art?
It's not going to look like that, but
I
it's
don't
the
expect
story
it to.
is also incredible. Like, I love the story.
What
do you mean?
What's the story?
What's
I
the
guess.
story?
There are millions of Batman Jim Lee stories out there, but I don't think of that. Like I think of, you know what I mean? Like the story is what makes Hush Hush.
Yeah, there are parts that I can't wait to see.
I think they're going to trim the fat a little bit.
It's just weird that they would do like. It seems like they're starting to do chronological. Like they're trying to build a DC.
Is Superman going to be in it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you look at the voice
right.
cast?
It has to be.
He has to.
He is, right? I know.
He's
I'm
the
just
coolest
saying.
part.
I know. It better be in it. I just didn't look at the voice cast, so I don't know
Batman
if...
beats the shit out of him.
Hey,
So
come on
good.
now with the kryptonite ring.
I'm excited to watch that. Maybe we'll
Fuck
go watch
Superman.
something for that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I know last episode we talked a lot about frustrations with the Invincible movie and whether, like, what's happening and how we haven't been hearing anything. Only a small thing here. Seth Rogen tweeted out that outlining the Invincible movie took months and months, but the first draft is coming in hot. So, not much to say there. It's just interesting the fact that outlining it took a very long time, apparently, and the first draft is done? Question mark. So,
But we don't know how things work. It could take 12 drafts.
exactly. It could take, we have no idea. So, that's still happening. Other than that, before we get to our main topic, which is our conversation with Wyatt Layne, I want to talk to TJ about C2E2.
Yeah, I want
So,
to see
So what happened? Now, this was 2 weeks ago?
This was
the week of my birthday, so it was.
It was
last.
It was no, it was last weekend.
Last
It
weekend.
was last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It hasn't
Was it
even...
last week?
No. You were here last weekend.
You're
It was-
right.
it was
2
last-
weekends.
So
2
it
weeks
was
ago.
2 weekends ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, because last
Yeah.
weekend was the 30th. The week before that
It's
was
just
the
that
23rd.
we normally record towards the end of the week, and it's the beginning of a week right now. So it was like a week and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
So you drove yourself,
No.
right?
No,
Oh, wait, you flew,
Yeah, I
didn't you?
flew.
Oh, shit, that's
It's on
right.
really, really cheap flights. Otherwise, I would
Why
have
did I
drove.
think you drove? I even like when it came down to you coming back, I was like, damn, TJ's probably driving back now. Like I remember thinking that.
No,
Oh, okay, that's not too
It was
bad.
easy.
Cheap airline, you said?
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have drove
Yeah.
about 8 hours, which isn't too bad. Not something
Yeah.
I would have preferred to do, but I would have just saved money.
Apparently, that's a very boring drive
Yeah.
out towards
I'm glad
Chicago.
I flew then.
So yeah,
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I went and obviously
you went all 3 days.
Yep.
You met Paul Rudd.
I met Paul Rudd. He was very cool. Obviously, they push you through the
Oh, yeah.
line, but he was kind of like dancing in line a little bit, just like being goofy, and he was like greeting everybody in a different way. Like being funny about it though, like every time someone would walk up and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then he'd be like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Like making everybody laugh, you know. But yeah, it was quick. I told him how much I loved role models and how that's like my favorite comedy of all time. He was like, "Oh, thanks, man, I appreciate that." And then we took our picture, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah,
So,
that's how those go.
he was a cool guy though. It was really. It's always weird seeing people in person.
Is he taller or shorter than you imagined, or
Way
at that,
shorter.
Or at
He
that
looks
height?
way shorter.
He was about what I imagined, me personally.
Okay. Well, because you're tall.
And
so-
I was nervous about that because every time I have a meet and greet or do a picture with somebody, I'm 6'1", which I don't think is ridiculously tall, but I always end up towering over the people that I'm meeting, and it just looks awkward and weird. Like I met the cast of Boy Meets World, and I'm just like, they're like midgets compared. It's a terrible looking picture.
Your photo with Joffrey.
Yeah.
Isn't he really short too?
Yeah, but I mean, he's like a child.
I mean, not really.
He's really not. He's like 20, but he looks like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting him to be shorter, but yeah. Ottley was there, obviously. I started a jam piece.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool too.
I decided to do it just with him, so every time I see him, he's going to add a character. And what is a
jam piece?
Jam piece is where it's a bigger. It's obviously it's not just a regular commission. I have him kind of sketch out an outline of what I want on like an 11x17 piece of paper, and then he adds more and more to it every time I see him. So I'll pay him commission price.
So it's like getting one big sketch done over time.
Right. So what I decided on, and I went back and forth, I talked to you guys about it, but what I decided on is to get a zombie piece of Invincible, Alien the Alien, Omni-Man, Conquest, Thrag, and Angstrom Levy, all as zombies.
And Dinosaurus and Battle Beast.
No.
Invincible, Conquest, Angstrom, Allen,
Omni-Man.
Thrag. Oh, Nolan's in there, right?
And Nolan.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to say it on air because it's still a really cool idea, but I love the other idea that we had too. That
might be my next one.
Yeah, someday that's going to have to happen. You know, whoever, even if it's somebody else that does it.
We have an idea. We won't say it because then you're going to steal it. And I know you. I know you listening to this podcast. Look at you sitting there right now.
I swear somebody stole your Thrag idea. Unless, I mean, it's definitely possible that somebody else had that idea.
Absolutely.
But it's weird that we said it on the podcast and then literally like that weekend.
There was a con that weekend.
And there was a picture of...
And someone did it, yeah.
Thrag Battle Beast reversals.
Reversed. If someone could, like, just admit that it happened, you know, like, we could all...
I mean, it's been done multiple times now, so...
Since then, yeah. And it's like, because then it was, oh, well, now everyone can be a cape. Now Dinosaurus can be a cape. And Invincible
wearing Dinosaurus. That's one of his best ones.
That one's so cool. That's the one where he has all the trophies, right?
Yeah. But the jam piece, so I met him I met Ottley on the first day. And we talked about what I wanted, and he kind of knew in advance what I wanted to because we talked about it before. And he knocked Invincible out like literally less than an hour. So he started with Invincible, he did the layout, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll come back tomorrow. Maybe I can do another one if you're up for it." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" Like I went back the next day. He was too busy. I went back on Sunday, and I was like, I talked to him for a bit, and then I just walked away, like thinking he was going to be way too busy. He had a monstrous line the entire time. Like almost the whole con. It was tough to like talk to him, which is awesome for him.
And he obviously remembers you, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I'm special. But yeah, but I went to him and I was talking to him a little bit, and then I walked away thinking that he's not gonna have time, and I was like, you know what? If he says no, he says no. So I walked back around the corner. I was like, I forgot to ask, like, even though I didn't forget. I was like, forgot to ask, did you have time
he could be listening to this right now.
That's all right. I was like, did you have enough time for another one? He's like, oh, what time is it? He's like, yeah, I'll fit you in.
Oh my gosh.
And he did, he put Conquest in as well, and oh my gosh, it's so sick. I don't really want to post it. It's out there if you want to track it down, because Ottley posted it.
Conquest does look badass.
But I'm not going to post it myself until it's done.
Reaching forward?
Yeah, he's got like his hand kind of decrepit out. So it's awesome. And when it's done, I'll post it myself. But it looks really cool. I have kind of news though.
You have news?
Yeah.
Well, wait. Is it still C2E2 stuff related? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Because there's more C2E2 stuff.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
It's still Ottley related.
Are you remembering what podcast we're on?
Huh?
He's got a show and tell. He's got a show and tell.
It's not a show and tell. But I was talking to Ottley, and again, this isn't like anything major. However, we suckle on any kind of bit of news that we can get around,
Seth
anything.
Seth Rogen breathed yesterday. Yeah. He probably touched a pencil, which means he still knows how to hold it.
Right. Of writing Invincible. So I was talking to him about the animated series, and I was like, "What do you think about the voice cast?" And he was like, "I love it." And I was like, "Yeah." I talked about how like beside ourselves we are of the cast, and like Mark Hamill, and like and I was like, I asked him like, "Are you a part of the animation at all?" And he goes, "No, I don't have anything to do with the actual animation. However, I am a consultant on the show, so they send me clips."
What?
All the time. He said, I haven't seen any animation, I haven't seen any action. However, they send me I have seen a lot of like just characters talking to each other.
What?
So there is animation out there. Like it's happening.
Oh my god. Now I remember at one point on Twitter he I think it was when they announced the cast or something like that, and he said to Copeland or someone, he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get up there and see it again." You know what I mean? So I know he visited at one point to see how it was coming along, but the fact that they're sending him clips and stuff like that,
and then he shares his feedback and stuff. That's cool. So it's
like the fact that he's overseeing stuff, not overseeing it, because we can't say whether or not
they could take his feedback or not, but
exactly,
yeah, he's a part of it.
But how cool is that he's actually,
and it's a 2020 release of this for sure.
They
right?
said 2020. And I feel like it has to be first half.
It absolutely has to be. We're gonna see a trailer by the end of the year.
I think we're gonna see a trailer
100%.
at the latest New York Comic Con.
Which is the end of this year.
Yeah, earliest San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just gotta get through a couple more months of this drought, and then we have something.
You guys going to New York Comic Con this year?
I really wanted to go to San Diego. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I really wanted to go to New York.
When is it?
I think the three
October?
of us. I think the three of us have to go to New York.
Agreed.
I could probably make it work.
So that's a great segue, TJ. How does it compare to New York Comic Con? You went to New York Comic Con in October. We did a whole episode about your trip there. How does Chicago compare to that?
On the first day, I think I talked to you on the phone, or you texted me or something, and I was talking about how I think it's my favorite one. Having gone all 3 days, it's not.
No.
New York Comic Con is still far superior. The thing I didn't like about C2E2 was awesome. Like they had, as far as talent goes, they had like the best talent there. The artists and everything that was awesome.
I mean, you got an amazing Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah,
like
he did a Battle Beast. I talked to Daniel Warren Johnson and I said, I told him he does these insane commissions that cost like $800, but honestly, like that shit is worth it. Like it's crazy. Literally, I've collected art for years, and I saw this like Batman piece that he had out for New York Comic Con. It took my breath away. It was nuts. But he also does these like $150 pieces that are like kind of quick sketch, but they're still amazing.
Yeah.
And I just got one of the quicker ones, and I just said
that was a quicker one.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't that nuts?
Wow.
I said, just draw something Invincible related. That's all I said.
And he chose.
No way, really?
He chose Battle Beast. Yeah.
Good for him.
Wow, I thought you asked for that.
Good for him.
Yeah. But that's perfect though.
I like that
couldn't even think like that's perfect for him.
No, I know. I like that because you were surprised when you picked it up. He didn't say, "Oh, I'll do a Battle Beast," right?
Yeah. No.
He just did it.
He's like, all right, yeah.
That's
and
so
I went
cool.
and picked it up. He's like, I decided on Battle Beast, and like flung it out, and I was like, holy shit, it's so good. So that's on my
cool.
Twitter. Is that on Invincible Podcast Twitter?
I would have retweeted it, yeah.
Yeah,
otherwise, I'll have it all in the show notes on the website.
So you can check it out. It came out really cool. But I met a lot of really cool artists. What was I talking about originally before I got on Daniel Warren Johnson? I got off topic. I was telling you
We were talking
something.
about the difference between that and New York Comic Con.
Oh, one thing I don't... Getting back to that. One thing I don't like about C2E2 is that they had no panels at all related to comic books.
So no like sketch duels or any of that kind of stuff?
Nothing. They had one where it was like exploring the Batman universe, like with, more of the popular DC artists but even that, like, I don't know. That was really it, and it was like half an hour. I didn't even go to it, but there was nothing really majorly comic book related. So I definitely New York Comic Con is,
which is interesting with the talent they have there to not do any of that.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Plus Friday and Sunday were fine, but Saturday it got a little crowded.
Yeah.
New York Comic Con, there's way more people than Chicago Comic Con. However, it's so much bigger that you like. I was never crowded at New York Comic Con ever. It was fine. So yeah, New York Comic Con is still my favorite.
All right.
But C2E2 was awesome. It was really cool. I'm probably gonna go again next year.
Yeah. Oh. Instead of C2E2 next year, I like how I'm living vicariously through you. You should just go to Emerald
City. True, because I was trying to decide between the two. And then Paul Rudd changed my mind to C2E2. And then after I decided on C2E2 and booked everything, Ottley got announced.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked out, yeah. You met some listeners, right? It was an artist that you went up to. You talked to an artist, and you said you do the Invincible podcast.
I met Joey Vasquez.
Oh yeah, there was him.
He's a listener. He was a listener of our podcast. I don't know if he still listens, but he follows us on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
His art is amazing. He got a job at Marvel, so I got an awesome Rex Blode.
He's doing a Marvel team up with Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel, I believe.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's cool too is I never see anything Invincible at cons ever, like on people's table. And I knew that he followed us because you turned me on, like told me to check
because
him out.
I just recognize him from Twitter.
I walked up to his table and he had 2 prints just sitting out on the table of Invincible. I never see him anywhere.
I love how there's that confirmation. Like you get to the table and you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely the one that guy.
One print was Thrag holding up Robot by the throat in the air. The other one was like a play on the Sin Caro movie poster. Sicario movie poster. Only instead of obviously them, he did it in all Invincible characters, which was cool. So I bought both of those too.
I haven't seen those. You got to show me them.
Yeah, they're cool.
All right.
So, yeah. So and I got a ton of commissions, Batman related and Invincible related. So
I love how at one point
really good art.
At one point you sent me a video, and you're just like flipping through a short box of comics, and then all of a sudden you're flipping, and it's like Invincible number 2, Invincible number 3, Invincible number 4, Invincible, and it's just like
all the way to like 10.
What?
Yeah.
Like just loose in a box.
Yeah, but they were very expensive.
Right.
They were priced appropriately, not like overpriced, but
what you'd end up finding online anyways.
Yeah, it's not like I found like an Invincible number 2 for $3 in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it was cool to see them because we never see them in boxes when we go to cons and stuff. So.
That is weird. It's usually if you see them, it is only in CGC cases or anything like that.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Anything else I was going to ask you about C2E2?
I feel like there was more I wanted to tell about C2E2. I just can't remember.
How early do we have to get badges or whatever for New York?
It's so weird. So
because you have to like do the whole process, right?
I think so. If you've never gone before, it's like this ridiculous process. But if you have gone before, I think I can reserve mine coming up. Like literally, we're waiting. Everyone's like waiting. Like when's the emails coming out? I can reserve mine and then buy mine like a couple weeks later, and then I can reserve your guys's early. You can't get them yourself. I have to get them. And then buy them mid.
I mean, they do this to keep people from like scalping and all that kind of stuff.
But it's. I think it's over the top, man. It's crazy. I because I had never gone before, I had to wait until like mid-July to do it, which is nuts because you want to book everything. You want to book your hotel. You want to book your flights and stuff. And I wasn't sure if I was going to get tickets or not. So, however, but I've been there before, and it'll probably.
If we plan this enough in advance, that would be really cool. If the three of us can even get a hotel, drive together, make a trip out of it. I think that'd be fun.
I found a cheap hotel last year, so maybe we can go to the same one.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
If you think of anything else while we're talking, TJ, just shout it out. Otherwise,
I'm just gonna shout it out.
I've got an email from Will, and judging by his email address, his last name is Smith. So I'm not gonna jump to conclusions.
Oh, it's definitely Fresh,
but it's probably the Fresh Prince.
The fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Absolutely.
All right. It says I discovered Invincible in December and was finished by mid-January of this year. Discovered it in December and was finished by mid-January. So he just started.
I just had a revelation.
Go.
Will Smith is Mark Grayson.
What?
In the movie?
In the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, that explains why he had to read it so fast.
You're right.
Had
to get into character.
This is looking good.
Never has a comic impacted me so much. I see so much in Mark at the start of the journey that I see in myself. I understand Mark's struggle being a high school student who works at a burger place, trying to get through high school and trying to live up to some great expectations. Okay. That doesn't sound like
it absolutely sounds like Will Smith.
He's trying to misdirect us. Right. It's Will Smith.
Finding this podcast was so great for me because it's hard to find high schoolers who actually read comics, but even harder to find people who read outside of the big two. I love listening to this podcast while working on my art, and it's great to hear comic fans talk comics. Robert Kirkman has created some of the best characters I've ever read, along with my hero Ryan Ottley's stellar art. One of my favorite things in the comic was Ottley's growth. As a student who attends a school for the arts to become an illustrator, I have to study the work of many comic artists, and Ottley is always my first choice. I can't wait for the animated series and movies so that our favorite yellow and blue hero can become a mainstream after 16 years. Keep up the great work, guys. Love, Will. Smith.
Wait, so he says he's still in high school?
Yeah.
That's like, you're pushing it a little bit too far. I don't
What do you
believe
mean?
that for a
You don't
minute.
believe it?
Why would Will Smith say that he's in high school unless he was trying to say that he's not?
I didn't know you were still going with the Will Smith joke. Sorry.
He must hate that.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure.
Or love it.
Like, what if your name was like Elton John? Like, that's gotta suck. To have a name of someone so famous that's
that
gotta
you
suck.
can't.
Well, what if your last
it's
name
completely
was like,
unavoidable.
Literally, everybody's calling you.
There's a giant thread on Twitter going right now where people are responding with like, what's your name? And then somebody says that, and then it's the reply to what is wrong or something like that, and it's all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, you mean like you Fresh Prince?
Exactly.
And the one that I identified with the most was what's your name? Ryan? Brian? Yeah. I get that all the time. Anytime I place an order, it's like, okay, and what name will that be under? Ryan? Brian? Okay, Brian. And then I'm just like, yeah.
It's better.
I'm Brian now.
It's better. I accept that, because what I get when I'm talking on the phone in this voice is, what name should I put the pizza under? Tim? Okay, Kim? No. Can you hear my fucking voice? Like, do I sound like a woman?
Kim's a guy's name too.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a guy's name.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's better than Ryan and Brian, or it's worse than Ryan and Brian.
But it's to the point where I don't even.
I get Kim.
But and the best part is, if I say, if they say Brian and I choose to correct them, I can't. A lot of times I don't. I learned the right way, but I'll be like, they'll be like Brian. I'm like Ryan with an R. No, I mean
Ryan with an R.
Not with. Yeah, that's what happens.
Ryan's starting with an R.
The only thing
I have to do that. I have to do it. Or I'll say Ryan, no B.
The only thing that I get is when people spell, because I say I'm Billy to the world except for here.
Yeah, which is so weird.
Yeah, and how do you spell
Which
Billy?
is funny because just this core group of friends that you have call you Bill, whereas everyone else in the world calls you Billy, except now for anyone that listens to this podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So we're just spreading
but I so
it.
seamlessly.
But that's the same thing with me. You guys call me TJ.
That's true. Yeah.
Everyone else calls me Tim.
Isn't that weird? But everybody that matters in my life calls you TJ.
In your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Same with mine.
Right.
Except for my mother.
You're right. Your mom calls me Timmy, which is weird that I think about it.
It's really weird.
That is weird. But people spell it IE instead of Y. Like when I'm like, oh, my name's Billy. Like, oh, pizza or whatever like that.
B-I-L-L-I-E.
That's weird.
Like on my receipt, it'll say thanks Billy or something like that.
Now that I think about it,
I mean, Billie Jean is spelled like that.
I've never gone by Tim.
That's a girl's Billy.
Oh yeah.
Billy for a girl is Billie.
I don't think I ever made that connection that IE is the girl's version.
Always.
No.
Yeah, 100% of the time.
No.
I'm gonna find an example where it's not, but
okay.
I can't think of one.
All right, Brian.
Billy Idol.
Brian.
Is that IE?
That's why.
Is it what?
Yes.
It's out there. There's an IE mail out there.
But back to Will's email. I'm surprised that there's not. I would have thought that we started reading Invincible in high school too.
Did we?
Or it was shortly after high school, actually.
No.
Wasn't it?
It was far after high school. We started reading.
No, you started reading Walking Dead in high school.
It was
out of high school.
No, it was in high
we
school.
were not.
We were
reading.
absolutely out of high school.
There's no way. There's no way.
I want to say we started reading Invincible the year of our first cruise. We went on it was 2009. I think we started Invincible or Walking Dead maybe 2007, 2008.
Well, what I was getting at was I was surprised that Will said that there's not a lot of kids in high school reading comics these days. I feel like it would have changed.
I agree though. I agree that it's weird.
Yeah.
But
how mainstream comics have become.
But I understand why they're not I tried to get my nephew into it. I got it for Christmas, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
He hasn't. I don't want to push him into it, but he hasn't said anything to me about it or.
Comics aren't mainstream.
Agreed.
Comic book, movies, and other media is extremely mainstream and easy to get. But I don't think people really jump into comic books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I saw something that Marvel was. Maybe did you guys see anything about how Marvel was thinking about doing away with comics?
No, I didn't
I
see
definitely saw something like that.
Maybe physical.
Was it April Fool's?
That might have been it. No. This was a long time ago. I saw this.
There's no way. No. There's too much of an industry built on.
And even I feel like I could see physical TJ, the paper ones.
Maybe it was
can't see them ever getting away with trades though. Mm-hmm. I can almost see them getting away with weeklies.
No way.
You still don't think it'll ever happen?
Way. There's too much of an industry built around comic books.
Yeah.
Conventions.
I know, but how much of those are about those physical paper comics, those small 48-page comics? Like, it's not...
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's not like a magazine. It's not like people read digital magazines or just like get all their news on like GQ, Facebook, or whatever I don't know what people do. I
don't think so either, Bill. But I also feel like we're the kind of people, or that we sound like the people that are like, oh no, DVDs will never go away.
Yeah. In my day, we had
CDs will never go away. Like, things become digital. Like, I could see comics still staying the same size and everything, but they're digital.
Okay. So will they ever stop making Blu-ray or some sort of digital?
Probably, yeah.
No.
No, think about it. Like, Blu-ray itself, or you mean just a physical?
I mean a physical version of the movie. Or a video game.
Actually, eventually, yes. I think eventually, yes. I don't know if it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a really long time.
I don't think so. I think that no matter what, you'll still be able to go to the store and buy a hard copy of something. And I don't mean like a download card or something like that. Because, no.
I'm saying if it happens, it'll be near the end of our lifetime if it happens. I'm saying a long time.
Okay.
TJ, did you have something else?
No.
All right. I think we are going to go on in... we have to give our friend Wyatt Layne a call, and we're going to insert that right here. We haven't talked to him yet, but I'm excited to talk to him. He's obviously the guy that's supplied us with music for a long time now. Big contributor of this podcast. He sent us stuff. He's just a great guy, and we're excited to talk to him. So we're going right now to that. I guess we'll just go right into it.
Yeah, because
go right into it.
Welcome to the show, Wyatt.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. We're excited to have you here. You have been such an awesome contributor to our show, writing in, sending us stuff, obviously providing music for so long now that it's crazy to me that we haven't had you on sooner. So
you do the intro for our other podcast, Oblivion Song Podcast.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It's so funny because that's the first song that I put out once I started making music again. And like you guys have talked about before, like listening back to the first podcast episode you do is almost like cringy because you feel like you've grown so much since then. So for me, I actually like that one more because I'm so used to just hearing it as the intro to the Oblivion Song podcast.
It fits so well with Oblivion Song.
It does.
It's just it captures the mood of that so well.
I remember me and TJ, we were like listening to like a bunch of songs and we just kept coming back, like nothing even came close to being right.
We were originally looking for something that sounded a little similar to the Invincible podcast intro, where it's like 8-bitty, like video game type.
But
we came up with something
that doesn't match the comic though. That was the thing.
And then you were like, Wyatt Layne has some music. Maybe we can check out his stuff. And then we played a couple of different ones. And then once we played Control, it fit perfectly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was super excited that you guys asked. I remember seeing that you guys were announcing that the first episode was coming, and I had just put that song out the first time, and then seeing you guys were announcing that, I remember thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to like let them know I could write something as an intro, but they're doing their first episode really soon. I don't have time to write something else. And then I think the next day you guys sent me the message being like, hey, would you mind if we use this?
So if you want to know what we're talking about and you haven't listened to the Oblivion Song podcast, shame on you.
Check it out. Yeah, I intentionally haven't used that one as an outro to Invincible podcast because it feels like it's too Oblivion Song.
So speaking of which, we have been playing different songs from Wyatt in our outros to Invincible. So if you've been listening all the way to the end and kind of sticking around after our episodes, that's this guy.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Invincible. When did you first start reading Invincible?
So I started reading Invincible, I want to say it was probably like around 2012. I had been into superhero comics for a while, started getting into like Marvel comics right around the time the first Iron Man came out, but sort of quickly got tired of seeing like the writers change, the artists change, characters dying, characters coming back, just not feeling like it was consistent. And so kind of walked away from superhero comics for a while and was looking for other things. Just like most people, found The Walking Dead, started reading a lot of those comics. And for a long time, funnily enough, like the costume for Invincible sort of put me off of it. I just thought like, that looks really goofy. The goggles, like the bright yellow, all of that just seemed like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like it would be for me. And now I love the costume and like the idea of them doing the live action movie without the costume and the goggles seems blasphemous to me.
TJ, was your face flabbergasted when he said that he didn't like the costume? Was that what your face just did?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
I can understand.
I could
it.
totally see that.
Yeah.
Anytime, like,
Yeah.
I always feel like when I show someone, it's like I kind of picture it like through their eyes for a second, and I'm like, yeah, I know he has goggles. I know they're kind of
Yeah.
just floating there. Just trust me, it works.
And I think I was just in the mindset of like I had been reading Walking Dead and getting into more comics that were like less superhero, maybe less like, I don't want to say campy because I don't think Invincible is really campy, but veering away from the characters in tights with superpowers that were maybe a little more serious topics. And then to think that Kirkman, who was doing this ultra violent like Walking Dead zombie comic that's just about like human drama, is doing this superhero comic where he's got goggles and all of this weird. I just couldn't figure out how that was the same writer. And eventually, once I decided to give it a chance and read the first few issues on digital, I was just hooked and super obsessive about it and wouldn't stop talking to my wife about it. And then she ended up buying me the compendium and then several trades after that had been out. And I think I binged. This was right around the time that issue 88 came out. I remember that was that was the first issue that I bought. That was a single issue. So I read all the way up until Mark loses his powers, essentially, and then had to stop there and wait for a month.
Did your wife read any of it,
I was just
too?
about to ask that.
She read some of it, but then I had spoiled so much of it because I was talking to her about it. Because I was like, "Are you going to read it?" And she goes, "I don't know, maybe." And I was like, "Well, can I tell you about this one part? His dad is a bad guy."
Like you have to share it with somebody?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so I would read more of it and want to talk to her about it. And she's like, "It's fine. You can just tell me about it." So now as the new issues would come out, I would just be like immediately like on the drive home from work. I would just be like, "Okay, I have to tell you about what happened." And just spoil the whole thing.
That happened with me and Liz a lot, too, because I remember specifically I was sitting in the kitchen and I was reading them on Telescria and him eating the food and having the toilet issue. And then I was laughing hysterically. I'm like, Liz, look at this. This is so funny. And at the time, she had no, like, context. Like, so she's like, oh, okay. I'm like, you're stupid. Like, how do you not think this is great?
I always think about that because right now, my wife, Katie, her only, like, real connection is that she knows Adam Eve. Like, she has the Adam Eve shirt. Mm-hmm. She knows she got for our first anniversary, she got me the page of them sitting outside the Eiffel Tower drinking wine. So she knows who Adam Eve is. So I always think about how if she were ever to read it, like she's in for a surprise about all the things that happen between them. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not to go off topic of Invincible, but I have to bring attention to the fact that you're wearing an Avatar: The Last Airbender t-shirt.
I am.
Yeah, I'm slightly distracted by that and just the wall behind him.
Yeah.
Oh my
Captain
gosh!
America,
The Ant-Man helmet.
So this is my office / studio, I guess, where I like come in here to work on music. But yeah, I intentionally set my computer up over on this side since all of my stuff's back there. This is technically my wife's desk that I'm sitting at. But yeah, I've been collecting like prop replicas and stuff like that for a long time. So I have some lightsabers, some Marvel stuff, obviously, because I'm just a big fan of MCU and all of that stuff. And
right there.
The Avatar shirt is a lot thanks to you guys because you guys talked about Avatar so much. I eventually gave it a try and then ended up binging through that and Korra over the course of a month or so and just like am obsessed with it. I'm started to collect the Funko Pops. I have Aang and Uncle Iroh so far.
Nice.
So cool. Yeah, I remember that, and you were tweeting all about it, and that actually got. I mean, I didn't get to watch much of it, but you rewatched the whole thing.
I literally just rewatched. I'm rewatching with some friends. We watched all of Last Airbender, and now we're about to start Korra. Rewatch.
Yeah, it's so great. I've gotten a couple of my friends to start give it a try now, and they're working their way through it as well. So
the three of us always talk about doing like something. Outside of our podcast, but maybe doing something like a rewatch or something if it works. But it'd be tough to work it out.
It exists. There's a lot of Avatar podcasts out there,
as there should be.
Yeah,
rightfully so.
Back to Invincible though, because that's why we're here. Favorite story arc? Hit me with it.
Oh, you better watch it, Wyatt.
I always feel like maybe this is the question. Like, all right, tell us. Conquest or why it's not Conquest. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel bad, like we're trying to put people on the spot, like, why isn't it Conquest? But like, I mean,
yeah, obviously Conquest was the one that like it kind of changed the way you look at the comic, how brutal it was and how great that arc was.
But like other ones, obviously.
Probably, I mean, maybe it's just because it was so fresh in the most recent one, but the End of All Things arc was really satisfying to me. Obviously, it's bittersweet that it was ending, but it felt like it was kind of a return to form in a way for Invincible, having it back to being like the giant battles between him and Thrag, and I loved the fight between him and Thrag on the sun and how brutal that all was, and then the robot war stuff, and even with the ending being as, you know, bittersweet as it was, seeing as how it ended, all of the stuff they gave in that, I was just like blown away with each time I turned to the page, and you're getting this whole thing that could be 5 years of the comic on one page was just awesome.
The last issue you're talking about?
Yeah.
I feel like when you ask like arc, you could almost take that last issue and say that was my favorite arc, because it was so much. And the more that I think about it, I'm so satisfied. I didn't know if I was satisfied with it when I first read it, just because, but I could not be, I think, more satisfied with the last issue.
When it was 2 months ago now that it was the 1 year anniversary of that final issue. I went back and reread it and listened to our talk with Kirkman and stuff like that. It holds up. Like, I'm so satisfied with it. It's a great finale.
It's weird to think that a lot of people were not okay with it. Like, I met this artist at a Niagara Falls Comic Con last year, like June of 2018, and we talked for a long time. And he said I loved Invincible from like the first page all the way to the end, except for the last issue, and he like hated it. Like, he had like a strong hate for it. I was like, I don't understand why. Like, it I feel like it wrapped everything up. It wrapped up all the characters. It kind of showed
that the world moves on.
Yeah,
I think that turns people off, though. That you know, where's all this? Where are all these storylines? Why are you giving this to me now if you're just going to end it?
The reason why people love it is the reason why people hate it. Like, I was on the fence. Like, when it first happened, I was like, I want to see the coalition versus the new Viltrum Empire. Are you fucking kidding me? But like, that's not what it was about. It was about Mark getting to the end and that last final line, you know, and then seeing freaking why can't I think of her name now? Tara. Seeing her grow up, like, in front of your eyes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Those 6 panels of her just getting older and like
perfect.
That was, especially because I read it digital as well, and swiping to each new panel was just like, no, she's getting older. Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
Do you have any kids? Do you have a kid, or?
I do have a son. Yeah, he's 2.5. His name's Grayson.
Perfect.
All right, is that intentional?
It totally was, yes. So
how much fun did you have, man? That's crazy.
It was a mixture of my love for Invincible and I love Nightwing as well. So it was. I obviously wasn't going to name him Richard or Mark. Both of those were names that we didn't really want to go with. So Grayson, it covers all of the Grayson family as well as Nightwing. But yeah, that was definitely my wife and I even argued over that for a little while, because my cousin, who lives out of town, recently had a son as well, and they named him Grayson. And she's like, we can't do that. Your cousin just had a kid named Grayson. I was like, we never see them. It doesn't matter.
I had
it's gotta be Grayson.
I had 2 cats, and one is Oliver, the other one is Grayson.
Nice. Very cool.
For the same reason. So, you having a kid, because I'm the only one in our group that has children. I have a daughter, she's 4, and Riker, my son, he's 8. And reading Invincible, like, when I started, I didn't have any kids, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I had a kid. And then, like, the stuff with Mark having children, it kind of resonated with me more. How did you feel, like, during those moments, having a child?
Totally. It definitely, there were a lot of moments where, like, it felt like my life was evolving parallel to Mark's. Like, as, you know, my wife and I got married, it felt like not long after that, suddenly Mark is proposing to Eve, and then they're planning to get married. And then right around the time Grayson was born was when, like, there's the whole time jump thing where he misses some of Tara's childhood and all of that.
Man.
So everything was just like hitting super hard, and that made it, I think, so that Tara became like one of my favorite characters. All of her stuff when she's little and she's just super snarky and like arguing with her little robot teacher and things like that. So great. Yeah, some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Favorite character, Wyatt? Hit me with it.
Is this
that's
gonna be a
good
new thing?
segue.
Hit me with it. Please don't make this a new thing.
It's done. It's done.
Damn it!
It's a thing.
All right, well, hit us with it.
I mean, to go right off of what we were just talking about, other than like the boring answer is to say Mark, but he probably is my favorite because you see him grow so much over the series. But other than Mark, probably Tara. Like, even though she doesn't get as much to do as maybe some of the other characters or some of the villains, seeing her grow up and then having her be kind of like Mark's legacy going forward, where that final issue and she's the one fighting in the arena, and them having that line of the Viltrumite way and her being kind of the one. I don't know. She just definitely, she grew in a way where she wasn't just like always in Mark's shadow, but she even like stepped beyond Mark as well. So
yeah, she wasn't a clone of Mark. You know, she wasn't
exactly.
She was her own character, but she was such a perfect like combination of Eve's personality and Mark's personality, and then she just grew into her own in one issue. Issue.
If you would have asked me a year ago, like even after I read 144, I don't know if I would have said that Tara was one of my favorite characters, but something happened within the last year of that final issue coming out, just dwelling on it and thinking about her as a character.
She's all you think about in
She's
that last
all I
issue.
think about.
That, me too.
She is one of the best characters by far. I always think of that shot of her in the arena, and it doesn't hurt that Kirkman told us that was the image that he always wanted to get to. When we asked him about where were you going when you were writing the end, and he said, I always had a picture of Tara standing in an arena like Coliseum facing off against something,
being the Viltrum champion
and being the champion. That is such a
even outside of issue 144 though, what I like about Tara is that at a time where every character that you see in the comic is super powered or special, she was like the innocence of the end of Invincible. She was that innocence that was coming up in a family. She was the child until we get Marky toward the very, very end. That's what I always loved about Tara.
Yeah. And even off of that, kind of what you were saying with Tara really kind of changing in the final issue and making you care about her, I could even say the same about Marky even. Like, leading up to the final issue, I kind of felt like, man, this is such a loose end, and it feels like they need way more time to tie that up with the story, and we've barely gotten any story with him, and that's Mark's son. But all of the stuff that you get with him on Earth for that first half of the issue, just trying to kind of live up to his father's legacy and everything, and then the little glimpses of him after they do the time jump, where you can see that him and Mark have kind of fought and things like that, made me so much more interested in his story too. Like, he's such a complicated character as well.
Yeah, definitely. I want to transition now over into your thoughts of Invincible and its future.
Okay.
How do you feel about the movie currently and the live action? Are you concerned? Are you worried about it? Like, what do you want to see in the movie? And then we're going to talk more about the animated series after that.
Hit us with
it.
Don't do it. You had a choice, Bill. You could have taken the.
I've chosen wrong. I know. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna wait. I hope in the next Oblivion Song podcast we slip in the hit us with just random.
It's forever ingrained in them.
Hit me with the previously on.
We have to change everything. We have to rewrite everything. All right, go.
So I think I have very similar thoughts to what you guys have expressed, where I'm the most confident of the animated series. That feels like a slam dunk. Like, I feel like that, especially with the cast that they've announced, that they can it's going to be really hard for them to mess that up. It feels like the live action movie definitely feels like I'm more nervous about it, but I'm excited to see what they decide to do and hopeful that it's going to succeed, just because even if the animated series is a hit and it's great, I know that it won't get as many people on board and talking about Invincible as a live action movie would, where that would spread, I think, even further and make it even more popular and get it to more people. But at the same time, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm curious more so about the live action movie, just to see how they handle the costume with the goggles, how they handle casting, how they handle just it versus how familiar everyone is with superhero movies.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic about the movie. I hope that it's great. I hope that we end up getting, a series of movies. It's like that it's the next MCU and we're 20 films into the Invincible universe in 10 years. But
I told you guys, over a year ago, I had a dream that we were in the theater for a movie and a Battle Beast spin-off teaser played. Yeah. Oh man, that's the world. That's the Invincible universe.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
What I don't want to happen, I would rather the Invincible movie die right now before it has a lot of you know what I mean? Before it's I don't want it to be forced. Like they have to just because they announced it and they have to kind of work on it.
But usually when that kind of thing happens, it's changing hands, it's changing companies and directors, and it's rewritten. It goes through a kind of production hell.
I don't want that.
But I'm saying that's what happens, and it hasn't gotten to that point yet. I'm not concerned yet. I know that it's taking its time, but I don't think we have reason for concern yet.
It feels like to what you said, the show is livened up. It feels like everyone's really behind it. Everyone's this fucking show, man. Yeah. And I mean, I agree. A movie is super mainstream, but you can have an issue where it's such a small release and it flops that it ruins what Invincible is, while the show, I mean, think about shows now with streaming services like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's interesting because you said that the animated series might not hit as hard and make as much of a cultural impact as a movie would. And it's funny because all this time I've been thinking that this animated series is going to be like a Stranger Things where everybody's going to be talking about it. But it could be like Castlevania,
I never thought
where it's kind of a niche, like the Castlevania, the rated R animated thing that it's reviewed really well. It got
but no one watches
the second season. No, right. I think it does well, but it's not talked about that much.
I don't mean
it's
to be
not
negative.
a household name.
I don't mean to be negative.
Here we go. Hit us with it, TJ.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's not on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Amazon is big now,
Amazon's
man.
getting bigger. It's getting
bigger. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
But name an Amazon Prime show that's as big as Stranger Things.
Marvelous Miss Maisel is huge. That's a big show. They do.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah, Amazon does have its series.
Is that big?
Yeah, dude.
People know it. I'm not saying people aren't going to know about the show, but have any of us watched it?
Just because I was just going to say, just because we haven't watched it and you specifically haven't watched it does not mean that it's not big.
But I'm not seeing I think you guys are expecting Hot Topic to be selling Invincible stuff. I don't think it's going to be like that.
They will.
I think that they will once the movie comes out. Like Wyatt is saying, that's going to be a more cultural impact than the animated series.
No, there's One Punch Man stuff.
One Punch Man is an anomaly. You can't. Don't put that expectation on Invincible.
One Punch Man is not popular. If I ask anybody who One Punch Man is, they're like, "What's that?"
Go to any con and tell me if any Comic-Con and tell me if One Punch Man. So
is not popular. You're saying that? Are you kidding me? You're saying that? Sorry that we're hijacking.
We're squabbling.
This is
no, you're fine.
You're telling me that the same audience that loves One Punch Man is not going to also be the same audience that invests time in Invincible show?
I think it's possible, but there's also a very different audience out there that is strictly for more anime style stuff. But there's also people out there that are more into superhero stuff. That audience is going to get both.
But we're specifically talking about my mom. My mom watches Stranger Things and she knows about it, but my mom probably wouldn't know. She doesn't know what One Punch Man is or what Castlevania is. But my mom would know what
I'm expecting it to be somewhere in between. I'm expecting it to be somewhere in between the Castlevania and the Stranger Things of the world. Where, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to fall there too. I think a lot of it will depend on really how well executed it is, and if it is just really well done, like we think it's going to be, and it starts to spread just word of mouth, my dad probably not going to log on to Amazon and just see Invincible animated series. I'll check that out. But if he hears me and a bunch of other people talking about it and he's seeing headlines about it, he'll be like, okay, I'll give this a try. And then I think you're right. I think it's not going to maybe hit as hard as something like Stranger Things where everyone has Netflix and it's live action. So it's maybe a little more familiar to people to jump right into. But I think it'll hopefully, since the story is so great and since it seems like the cast is so great, I think that it'll hopefully do better than just your average animated series premiering on a streaming service.
Yeah.
All it takes is like a Facebook post to go viral, you know what I mean? And people be like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? And spike just a little bit of interest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to agree with you, Ryan, that, I mean, you brought up Miss Maisel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be maybe as popular as that. But what I'm saying for my own expectations is that if I were to go out into the world and talk to every single person that I know, every nerd that I know that's like us, I bet none of them are watching.
To be fair, this is going to have the Kirkman name on it. And the last thing that did that was The Walking Dead, which is a phenomenon right now.
So it's going to be... ratings are at all-time low.
What about that movie he did? No one watched that shit.
What, Air?
Air. No one watched that shit.
That was Skybound. That wasn't Kirkman. It's true. But anyways,
I think that is going to make a big difference that it has Kirkman's name on it. And that's one of the reasons that I'm a little more optimistic about the movie is that he waited so long until even announcing that they have partnered with somebody to make the movie. Like when Walking Dead was at its peak, when it was in the first few seasons or whatever, I feel like he could have easily said like, and I'm doing an Invincible movie, come see it. I'm finding somebody and they're going to make it. The fact that he waited so long to even start on that, because clearly they're still in the early stages, gives me the feeling, or at least the hope, that whatever Seth Rogen is doing and the way that they pitched it to him was a way that won him over of saying like, okay, this is how you make it work live action. This is how they've figured out how it works live action. So now we can go forward with it. Because I feel like otherwise that should have been an easy like, oh, I'm super successful because of The Walking Dead. I'm going to make my other big name project like into just a successful thing. Let's go cash that in. And it seems like he waited intentionally. So hopefully that.
What's smart about that too is that like the movie, I mean, Robert Kirkman's name is not going to be what sells the Invincible movie. Maybe a little, but Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, their names are going to sell that movie.
It's huge, and I mean, it's not an independent studio either. It's Universal. Like there's a lot of positives in our corner. It's not.
Definitely.
And I remember a while ago Kirkman saying that Seth Rogen and Evan are the right people for the job. That they are fans of the series. That they actually pitched him something, and said that this is what kind of story it is. And Kirkman was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I can't wait till years from now we could find out what that pitch was. Like, what is it? Like, how did Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg interpret Invincible into like a no-brainer of a movie?
Right.
So we'll see. But back to the animated series. I don't know how much we're going to talk about it, but last episode we were talking about kind of our outlines for how we want to see the series kind of go, how many seasons and what we could see it happening. And you said that you were going to actually email us about that because you had some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think I was tweeting back and forth to you guys too, that once you were talking about how many seasons you thought the animated series could go, I was like, all right, I want to figure this out. And I was pulling my Ultimate Collections out and be like, okay, this could be a season. And then you could do this as a season. So yeah, I started writing out what I think 5 seasons of Invincible could work, like how you could tell the story from beginning to end in 5 seasons. So the first season, start with, I would say like within the first 2 episodes is when the fight with Nolan happens. Like the first episode maybe ends with him killing the Guardians, and then second episode ends with fight with Nolan. And then I would have like the season finale of season 1 would be Mark finding Nolan on Thraxa, I think the planet was called, where he finds Oliver, and then you have the big fight with the 2 other Viltrumites. Mm-hmm. And so it could end on the cliffhanger of him telling Mark to read his books and all that. Mm-hmm. Then you could do season 2 would be like you could open with Angstrom attacking Debbie and baby Oliver back at the house. That would be like the opener to it. Have kind of Angstrom built up as the villain over that season, and then you could have that season end with the Invincible War, because that was one of the things
the end of season 2.
Yeah, the end of season 2 could be like the Invincible War, because
it starts with Angstrom and ends with Angstrom.
Yeah, exactly. So he would be like the main villain of season 2, and I always felt like the Invincible War. I remember being so excited getting to that issue when I was binging through, and because there's all the little teases of like he's collecting all the other Invincibles, and then it's just one issue, and I wanted it to last for 5 issues. So I would love them to flesh that out into like the full finale. And you could even like that season could end with the tease of Conquest showing up, since he shows up right after.
That would time out perfectly if that's the end of that season.
Yeah. And then you could even have like that last shot of the two of them flying towards each other as the season 3 would open with the conquest fight. And then you could have that season be, do a little bit of world building with Dinosaurus and Robot, and then have the final episodes of season 3 be the Viltrumite War. So I would
that season Conquest bookends that season.
The Viltrumite season, if you will, for season 3. And then season 4 would be, you could open with like Mark breaking out Dinosaurus and, being labeled a criminal, starting to work with him. I would say that season probably would go all the way through like issue 100 and do the death of Dinosaurus. And then maybe in the finale have Robot turn where he kind of takes over and Mark and Eve would leave Earth. So that's, I think, the only one that I have that's not really like bookended by the same thing, but you'd have like the surprise of
but I think
Robot.
I actually disagree. I think that's perfectly bookended because the whole point of him breaking out Dinosaurus was because he was kind of becoming like he was straddling the line, the gray line.
And then at the end,
so your bookend is the gray line.
And you spend a season building up Dinosaurus. I mean, it's not going to be the entire season. It should be. DJ. It should be. No. And then he dies at the end, and then I think season 4 ending with like Robot like killing everybody and taking over would be
death of Angstrom Levy.
Would be fucking awesome. Would be fucking awesome. Tell us about season 5, please.
And then season 5 could be Mark and Eve. Like you could open with Mark and Eve. They're trying to live on Telescria, but you could, the same way the comic does, intercut that first episode with Battle Beast versus Thrag. So you still have like the big battle opening the season. And then I would even say, as much as I would hate to say to skip over anything, of the one thing I would skip, I'd probably skip Reboot. That I don't know if that works as like a
but
good story.
Terra aged 5 years. You go from 0 to 5 in an issue, which is kind of the point. Yeah,
so maybe not then. Maybe you could still have that in there.
You could literally do Reboot in an episode.
I was just about to say, how about Reboot is one episode?
Oh, it would
be 3. That would work.
No
that would
it'd be 1.
Yeah.
That would work. I just always saw that arc as it was odd to like reboot right before going into the end. You know what I mean? And it was in its own way. It was nice to sort of look back at the beginning. Yeah, because I got that so much from like the final couple issues. It was all about the callbacks to Mark's dad talking to him and things like that. But yeah, season 5, them living on Telescria, and then have like the final 4 episodes or so be the whole end of all things arc.
I think that is really good. I actually really like that. I feel the only thing I still can't wrap my head around is
it the first 2?
The Nolan fight in 2 episodes.
Yeah, the first 2.
Because I tried figuring out like how I would do it, and I just went with like we had talked about like how many we would try and do and everything like that, and I was gonna try and do like how can I stretch it to 10 seasons? Can I cram it into 2 or 3? And I was just like, you know what? Let me just see what comes naturally. And I just started like typing it out, and it ended up being 7 seasons.
Okay.
Wow.
No way.
You're still thinking it's a lot?
Nothing. I told you this. Nothing can change my mind. It's going to be 3 seasons.
Wow.
It's going to be 3.
All right. Mine's. I'm real quick. Just kind of like 7 seasons.
Okay, all right, man.
No, it's gonna be. It's just gonna. No, it'll be real quick. Season one. I actually broke out into like episodes, and then all the other seasons is just like
start finish. Starts with ends with.
Yeah. Season 1 starts with high school, first episode, getting powers and stuff like that. Ends with or middle of the episode. So around if there's 8 episodes, the fight with Nolan is the Game of Thrones effect. That is the
penultimate.
That is kind of like 6.
Okay.
7 is the aftermath. 8 is the Angstrom fight with all the Maulers.
Okay.
Season 2 is Nolan, the other planet, and the fight with Angstrom, Africa. Season 3, Oliver growing up, Conquest.
Well, how does season 2 end?
I thought you wanted Spitfire.
Okay.
Season 3 is Oliver growing up, Angstrom, Invincible War, and ends with Conquest. Season 4, Viltrumite War, end with Dinosaurus. Season 5 starts with Dinosaurus, ends with Robot and Mark and Eve leaving. 6 is all Telescria, a lot of Alan, end with Reboot and the time jump. Season 7, end of all things.
Let me tell you the facts of it. Season 1 is going to end with issue 60, The Viltrumite War. Season 2 is going to end with issue 112, Robots Take Over.
So, TJ,
and the death of Cecil.
So
and
let's
season 3 is going to be the end.
Let's talk more about this because
let's go.
Because you and, because I think you and Wyatt are on the same page because both of you are saying that the Mark Nolan fight is going to happen within 2 episodes, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
You disagree with that, Bill?
I used to, but I'm thinking now, like, I think the season 5, the 5 seasons work. Maybe you could even do 4. 7's too much. 3's not enough.
5, I like Wyatt's way more than I like my own.
I didn't want to offend you on our own podcast and say I really like
because you've
Wyatt's.
Never done that before.
Yeah, that's true. The whole point is to try and do it, right? You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, as much as possible.
Thank you.
But I feel like if you, like, for an hour-long episode show, 8 episodes, there's so much that you can just breeze over because it's uninteresting to people who know what a superhero movie is. Mm-hmm. Mark's in high school. Whoopity-doo. Like, you don't have to build all
I feel like the first episode he should graduate high school.
Yeah. Like
and it's some college in the first season. Other than that, no
the
school.
first season. Yeah,
let me
for
just
sure.
clarify here. I'm not saying it's 3 seasons because I want it to be 3 seasons.
No, I know.
I want it to be more. I'm saying it's 3 seasons because, pause for effect, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be.
I don't know, TJ.
I think that you could be right. I wonder how they'll handle that because I don't know. I wonder if they're going into it thinking that it might be only 3 seasons. Because if it is, I hope that they at least will do that so we can get to the Viltrumite War, so we can get to Robot taking over, so we can get to all that great later issue stuff. My biggest fear would be that they go into it thinking that they might get 5 or 7 seasons and they only get 3, and then we end season 3 with like Conquest showing up like mine would be or something like that, where and then we don't get any more of it. But
well, the thing
I think it's possible that it could be shorter.
It could be 3 seasons, but I disagree with what you're saying. Just because it's 3 seasons doesn't mean they have to cram everything into it.
I don't think it would be crammed though. Think of like 1 hour long episodes.
Yeah,
like,
but then in the alternative, did you finish Umbrella Academy?
No, I didn't.
Did you finish it, Bill?
I still have the last episode to go.
Really?
I have not
did you watch it, Wyatt?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, the Umbrella Academy. I finished it. It was cool. It was all right. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just okay.
Love the first episode.
I disagree with what you were saying, though. I think they were all equally boring and interesting, all the way through from beginning to end.
Umbrella Academy.
No, I'm serious. Like it was like you were saying that it started off really good and then got slow.
Right.
I think that it was all
slow
it was,
and boring,
well,
but interesting.
But yeah, it was still interesting. I liked it. But anyways, that is 10 episodes or 9. 9 episodes. All of them almost an hour long. Let's just say 9 hours. That is the first volume and some of the second volume, I think they said. I think it's a total of like 10. Hold on. Actually, somebody wrote in to the podcast on Twitter. RD Sraka, I don't know. Twitter names. They say, did you guys check out Umbrella Academy? Not my favorite book, but read it last month just to get finished before the Netflix series. 12 issues, which was 10 hours of TV. Remixed the 2 volumes, added a lot of quiet moments and more character backstory. Heard you talk about plotting the Invincible Amazon series last episode and made me wonder how they could slow down Invincible in the same way. So, 12 episodes, 10 hours.
Well, the way I...
That's the opposite of what we're saying.
Right.
The way I'm putting it together, though, they wouldn't have to slow it down. Just stick to the material.
But Umbrella Academy doesn't feel slowed down. You need those character moments to make it like... I could totally see them doing the Nolan fight in 2 episodes, but I think there needs to be more character development between the 2 to make you feel that fight. If that happens at the end of the first episode, then it's like, does it feel earned? Like, does it, like, the whole lead up about, like, killing the Guardians, like, he's going to kill the Guardians in the same...
The first episode of every single show has to tell you what it's about. Mm-hmm. And it's about a boy whose dad is like turns on him. That's his origin story. It's going to be the first and second episode.
It's not about
first episode one with killing the Guardians.
Here's an go ahead, Wyatt.
Yeah, I can see what TJ's saying is that I think the reason I put it that way too is that there are like so many shows where I've started 1 episode or even 2 episodes and just been like, nah, I don't need to keep going. That it makes me think that they would want to get to even in that first episode at least have the moment where you see Nolan kill the Guardian,
that's what we
just so that people will be like, what's going on here? And so getting to that quicker, I agree that giving it more episodes, giving it more time would make that even more impactful. If you've spent 6 episodes with this family and you feel like they're this picture perfect family and he's just this good dad. But I agree. I think they're going to want to, in those first 2 episodes, get you hooked, having that oh my gosh moment, that because I know a lot of times even when I've introduced the comic to my friends and they'll be like, yeah, I read the first 4 issues or so, and I'm like, just keep going, get to issue 7 or 8 or 9, like keep going.
No, that's a good point.
6 episodes to build up like how much you're supposed to like a character, so you're like, whoa, I'm really invested in this character. 6 hours, okay? Now let's say, for instance,
I think
Iron Man
kills the
Iron
Guardians
Man.
at the end of
Iron
the first.
Man. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Okay, Tony Stark. That was an hour-and-a-half long movie, right? Did you care about Tony Stark? Okay, that was an hour-and-a-half long.
No, you're right.
You learned about Pepper Potts, you learned about Tony Stark, you learned about Happy, you learned about all these fucking characters, Rhodes, everybody, and you cared about all of them, and it was done in an hour-and-a-half. You can make somebody like a character with one scene. Yeah. It does not have to be 6 hours of build-up to them make you be like, no! Like, that's detrimental because it makes people like, come on, let's fucking go. Where are we going with this? Which is what Umbrella Academy did. I was like, all right, I already like this character. Can I see now more stuff that's
interesting?
Like, go forward.
So 4 years from now, when we're all watching the season,
and we're still on this episode,
the series finale,
you can all say, "Damn, TJ
was right."
Or when we're watching episode 6 and we're like, when is Nolan gonna kill the Guardian?
Yeah, like when is Shane gonna die?
Yeah.
All right, I think we gotta wrap it up because we've been going for a little bit.
We
and
can
this episode
continue to go forever and
really
ever and ever, but you know.
Thank you very much for chatting with us, Wyatt. And again, thank you so much for all the music you've supplied to us and allowed us to use. It's huge.
All the topics and content for us to talk about. You regularly write in, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
To us and the Oblivion Song podcast as well.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. I mean, I genuinely look forward to the podcast whenever they're coming out. It's always something that I'm excited to listen to and write into. And thank you guys for promoting my music as much as you do. I know I've gotten plenty of clicks and listens onto the SoundCloud and all of that stuff because of you guys promoting it when you do. I feel like I'm getting free ad space on your podcasts all the time. So thank you guys. And thank you for having me on. It was a blast talking.
Cool. Thanks, man. See you later.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Bye. All right, we're back. Now we are going to go on to the reread, continue our reread of the entire Invincible series with, let's see, what are we on?
Starting with page 1 all the way to issue 40.
This would be issue 36 through 41.
Yep. Trade paperback volume 8. My favorite Martian.
Which is, again, another TV show.
I never saw this TV show, but I remember the remake. Do you remember the movie that came out?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was My Favorite Martian with
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh,
Robin Williams played the original. Wait, no, that wasn't. That was Mick and Morty.
yeah.
Mick and,
yeah.
Are you
not
sure?
Morty. Not what I'm.
Mick.
Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy. Mick and Morty.
Wow, that was hard. That's
Rick and Morty.
That's
yeah, so My Favorite Martian. And 36, right?
This was like one of my favorites for obvious reasons. It was Rexplode's fucking like.
I like last volume.
Paperback.
I said was one of my favorite volumes by far. Volume 7. I love all the Africa stuff. All that stuff's incredible. That's the Angstrom and everything like that. Mm-hmm. This one could have beat it.
Yeah.
But I think that the first half is not as good as the second half.
There's a lot of drama.
I think you're crazy for thinking this volume even comes close to the last one.
What?
Really?
You're crazy.
You didn't do the reading, Bill.
The only reason why is for obvious reason, and it's at the end of the fucking volume.
But this is 6 issues, and the bottom 3 are incredible. The top 3 are just okay. They're good.
Yeah.
Rexplode. That's all you need to know. There also,
but even everything else that's going on in that issue is awesome.
Art-wise, there are a lot of iconic splash pages in just this trade paperback alone. Mm-hmm. A lot of big splash page art.
All right, so issue 36, cool cover. I always liked this one with Mark standing there with the Reaniman jumping up through the floor.
I know why. I know why I don't like per se this because I just didn't like
this arc. This the first 3 issues.
didn't
Let's not talk about specifics until we get there.
We're here.
It's all right.
It's about the Reaniman. I just didn't like the reoccurring like mystery of the Reaniman and
my thing is that
and D.A. Sinclair
being
bad and stuff.
I wanted to look up when D.A. Sinclair was first introduced and when Rick was kidnapped because it was like 4 trades ago. Like it was a long time ago.
They were in like volume 1.
Well, yeah, the Reaniman. You're right. Yeah. So it was a long time coming. And I remember it even got to the point where William was like, dude, you know, our friend Rick, remember him? Mm-hmm. Like he's still missing. I feel like this should have been sooner. Right?
Yeah.
Like it was a little.
This story isn't, in my opinion, good enough for what just has been happening.
And a peek behind
my God. I think that this is some of the best Invincible.
And
really the Reaniman mystery stuff?
Maybe not so much of that.
That's
but
what
like,
I'm talking about.
This era, like D.A. Sinclair is awesome, and he's such a big.
I agree, TJ. I just think that it took too long to get here, and even by the time we were here. It was like 3 issues of the Reaniman where it was like...
But were you waiting for the Reaniman? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, it took too long. That's what makes Invincible so good. It's like, they'll tease something and then they'll fucking sit on it for a year.
But I was given the Reaniman after so much awesome stuff that I'm just like, oh, yeah.
And it was good, though.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's good.
This might sound weird, but I'm gonna point it out. But we didn't. As of where we're talking now, we're recording this part before talking to Wyatt, and I'm only bringing that up because I have a feeling I'm probably going to be talking about the Reaniman because we're going to be talking about the animated series. So, yeah.
So page 1, it starts out with Rexplode in the locker room talking to Bulletproof. Black Samson's there. He's talking about how.
Immortal.
He can't believe that Immortal and Duplicate are getting married, and he's like, you know, Bulletproof was talking about how, you know, all she wants to do is like he was like, all they want to do is have sex. Like, I'm surprised Immortal would choose her, and he's like, isn't that what you saw in her? And he's like, no, if I were to marry somebody, it would have to be someone like Eve. And he's like, yeah, but you screwed that up too. Like, Rexplode's feeling a little lonely, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's getting a bit of a.
He's jealous of other people's relationships.
He's getting a bit of a conscious. Is that the right word?
Conscience.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the right word.
I don't even know if that's it. I just think that he's.
I think he's feeling guilt about the way that he's treated others.
He's guilty and he's lonely and he's like, oh shit, maybe I screwed up.
Karma. He's feeling the karma. You know what I mean?
I can see
the
that,
way that he's treated people and how he's had all these opportunities before anybody else, and he's blown them all.
Yeah.
So the second and third page is the splash page of I think the most iconic image of Invincible like ever.
Yeah.
Of him in the air with his.
This was originally done as a poster, and
yep.
Kirkman wanted Ottley to incorporate it into the book. We were at your house recording Oblivion Song, and I just happened to. I was curious. I was looking at this page, and I remember we talked to Robert Kirkman on the podcast when he came on for episode 50, and we talked about how Invincible kind of sort of like lives in Baltimore.
They hint at it a lot,
and so I was curious. So I pulled out my phone and I looked at the Google Maps and like kind of zoomed and tilted around the skyline for Baltimore, and these exact buildings line up perfectly. Like this is the Baltimore skyline.
Yeah, that's cool.
So Mark stops in, sees William. William says, like, hey, I've got a plan. We're going to find Rick. Then let's see. Oh, yeah, we've got Doc Seismic attacking with the Magmites. We know that he broke out of prison because of the, or that he's alive, and he's now breaking out of prison because of the, what was that called? Oh, I can't think of the name. It was at the end of last trade. It wasn't Team Up. It was...
What event?
There was that comic, that tie-in comic with Fire Breather and Shadowhawk.
Oh yeah, Doc Seismic was
in that.
Was he in the back of it?
Yeah, it was how. Shoot, grab volume 7, TJ. It's bothering me. It should be. Just drop all of those pins on the floor.
Did Jason Howard do it?
It's right there on the yes.
Jason Howard did the art, right?
Oh my gosh, sorry. Yes, it's that right there.
Jason Howard did. No, that's not Jason Howard.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. It clearly is.
Yep.
I met him
The
at
Pact.
C2E2 too.
Jeez, the Pact. Oh yeah, Jason Howard. That's what.
Yeah.
That's who else.
I met
That's
him at
awesome.
C2E22. He was very cool. He did a
Did you
Damian
see
Wayne
any
Robin for me.
Did you see any original Invincible art or Wolfman art? I mean,
No, he didn't have any.
he didn't have any.
No.
Really?
No.
That's surprising.
I
Like,
think
what else
he
is
gave all. He sells a lot of it through a
on
distributor.
field- yeah.
I put like Wolfman, Astonishing Wolfman #1 in front of him for him to sign. He goes, "Whoa, this is an old one." And
Really?
I was like, dude, you have no idea. Like I told him who we were and everything about and how we
Like,
did
that we did like 4
series on it. And
episodes.
he's like, "Oh, thanks so much for doing that." He's like, "That's awesome." He's like, "I loved this book when I was doing it." He said this book was so much fun. Yeah.
And watching his progression,
Yeah.
is just as crazy as watching like Ottley's progression. It's so cool.
It's almost like you wouldn't know by looking at Wolfman
I know.
that like Cemetery Beach is him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. Like looking at or even just issue 1 of Wolfman and the last issue. It's
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
huge. So yeah, they fight the Magmites. This is also where Shapesmith
Becomes-
like joins the team in a way.
Yep.
Capturing Doc Seismic. Let's see.
They try to investigate, I always want to call him Gary, and that's the thing too. Why?
William.
I always want to call him Gary, and that's how it's always been. And in this trade, I found out why I always want to call him Gary.
Why?
Because there's another character named Gary that reminds me of him.
William? You get William and Gary
I
mixed?
always want to call him Gary. I don't get him mixed. The characters mixed up.
Yeah.
But I always want to call him Gary. And
That's
not William.
funny. Huh.
I've done that on past podcasts.
Really?
I'm like, Gary?
Gary?
Every time.
Gary?
I don't know why.
So yeah, the plan that William has is that he's going to pretend to be a homeless person because the Reanimen have been kidnapping the homeless people. So he pretends to fall asleep on a bench and
Actually falls
then
asleep.
actually falls asleep. I love
And
that.
Invincible's there, like, waiting.
Yeah. I love that sequence though, where he's like, "Don't you fall asleep now?" And then it cuts to like Mark yelling at him. He's like, "You fell asleep, didn't you, dude? You're totally asleep. You're such a loser." And then it shows 1 hour later, and
Mark's drooling and sleeping.
yeah, I mean, we talked about it last trade. This is like when Ottley really found his stride. The art is so good right now. I love this era of Invincible. It looks so cool.
Sure enough, a Reaniman comes in and picks up William and
He's
carts
so
him off.
stupid. I love it. He's being kidnapped by a Reaniman right now.
He's, like, smiling.
And he's still acting. He's like, we going for a ride, whatever, like acting like a drunk hobo, and gives him like a little like winky face.
It feels a lot different than later Invincible, doesn't it? Where it's a little bit more goofy, a little bit more
It's so goofy.
like not it's feel good. This is kind of the feel good, even though I mean crazy stuff happens. It's kind of the more feel good era of Invincible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing really dark about later, heavy, I guess, right?
Well, if I were talking feel good, but their friend was literally just kidnapped and chopped up and turned into a robot.
Yeah, but it's the difference of like the stakes are light, and then the stakes get heavier and heavier and heavier.
That's
and heavier.
true, yeah.
But the tone doesn't get darker. It just the stakes get heavier. That's the difference.
Invincible comes in to save him, and they kind of beat the shit out of him. Like, they put up a really good fight, especially in comparison to, like, what we know Invincible can do at this point. They beat the shit out of him.
They're really strong.
But I mean, Invincible holds back because he sees that it's Rick.
Right.
So he's not trying to like
Kill him.
fight and destroy these things. He's
Yeah.
trying to just kind of,
Yeah, so one of the Reanimen, like
Right.
you said, is Rick Sheridan that was captured.
This is whenever I think of the way like issues end and like cliffhangers and stuff. For some reason, I always think of this one because it's like my least favorite cliffhanger. I don't know why.
We're talking about a lot of least favorites in your favorite volume,
I didn't say this was.
TJ.
I'm saying
said
I said the
last
first
one
half I
was.
didn't care for. Yeah,
You said last one was, and you said that
this one was
might-
close. This one's
might beat
close,
it.
but the first half drag it down. I think.
No. I actually don't.
But yeah.
I like this ending.
D.A. Sinclair's about to experiment on William, and William's like, any minute now. My friend's gonna help me out any minute now. The covers though in this trade.
But the ending, I think, is warranted
Yeah,
for what happens.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know.
Because they make you think, like, oh, Invincible's going to pop in at any second. Mm-hmm. But, like, he doesn't.
Not like right away.
away.
Yeah. I always loved this scene with Robot and Amanda.
This is issue
37.
37. This is an okay cover. Him punching a reanimator.
Okay, I love it. It's almost 3D. Like, I want this to be like lenticular or something. I want to be able to...
All the moving parts.
Lenticular?
Isn't that
like
the ones
iPhone
where
screen that...
Where it moves?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where if you scratch it, it makes like a weird noise.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've always liked this scene with them trying to buy tickets.
Rex and... Or, not Rex.
Not yet.
Robot Rex. Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
And... Monster Girl.
Amanda.
They're too young to get into an R-rated movie, so he kind of tricks the guy selling the tickets, which is good. So they get in, and now they're kind of going on their first date.
Mm-hmm.
First date in a very, very long relationship.
Very long. There's a Science Dog poster in the background too.
Oh.
For a movie?
Yep.
Yep. Cool. So Rick is scared because, William is scared
There he is.
because he's actually going to get cut up by this guy, and Invincible finally pops through.
And he does get cut. He cuts his
Oh
neck.
yeah, I didn't
Does he
really
get
notice
cut?
that. He does kind of cut his neck
Oh yeah, look, he's got blood on his neck. Yep.
and blood on the knife. Wow.
And Invincible pops through.
And D.A. Sinclair injected William with something that would keep him from moving. It paralyzed him. And so Mark immediately frees him, and he's like, all right, get out of here. And William's like, and he's stuck to the thing, and William hears Mark yelling at Rick. And so now William knows that Rick is there, and so he's freaking out about Rick. He can't move. Good scene, and I think what makes it better is knowing their relationship or where it goes, right?
Right, I'd say only because we know what's going to happen.
Does it make this even more emotional?
Oh, I guess we get a kind of character moment here where D.A. Sinclair is confronted by Invincible.
And he breaks his fucking jaw.
And Invincible backhands him and busts his jaw off.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And when
Cecil stopped him.
Yeah, when Cecil shows up, I mean, he references Angstrom, right? Because doesn't he say like, remember what happened last time you lost your temper?
Yeah.
You know, like, so this is kind of planting those seeds of
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Of what's to come.
Mm-hmm. So they're gonna, the D.A. Sinclair is taken away along with Rick by the Pentagon, and Mark flies home.
Principal Winslow wants to talk to him.
I like this too, because he talks to him about, how he's got so much going on, your grades are slipping, and you're never making it to class. And then like Mark takes a moment, flies up above the campus, and he's just like, I've just got way too much crap going on in my life right now.
I love overhead shots like this.
Isn't that cool
he's,
looking?
Like, in the air, and he's like looking down at the.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple, but like it just feels
the perspective
cool. Like,
on it's
there.
awesome.
Like it's cool.
Last time something like that came up was in like issue 1, like 38 or something, when they were Bill. I remember you pointed it out when they were fighting when Invincible.
And
Eve and they were fighting the kids, and there's that crazy perspective shot looking down.
Yeah, it gives you like heights.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like that. And there's Gary.
This scene makes me uncomfortable. It makes me very, very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So who's right, who's wrong here?
Amber hasn't done anything right or wrong. She hasn't done anything wrong.
I disagree.
She hasn't
completely.
Even though they haven't done anything like physically. It's wrong for her. It's disrespectful to Mark that he's even okay. So, for people that aren't reading along with us, what's going on is Mark
Amber's studying with Gary.
Like a random guy that Mark doesn't know. Mm-hmm. They're alone in the dorm room, and Mark comes in and is like, "What's going on here?" Sure, Amber didn't do anything wrong, but I think it's disrespectful to Mark to have.
But every time she has a friend over, she has to tell Mark.
If it's a guy, like, I think so.
I think, how about this? If it wasn't in her dorm room, if it was at a library or something like that, would you feel the same way? Just hanging out with another guy?
A library, if there were other people around, absolutely not.
No, that'd be fine.
That's perfectly fine.
Which is what makes this scenario bad. Mm-hmm. You're an adult. for all intents and purposes.
I
Yes,
feel
you're
like
in
whenever
college.
you even say the word dorm room, you just automatically go to sexual.
But here's what I'm saying. So Amber says, "Oh, it must be my boyfriend throwing pebbles at the window. He does that to get my attention sometimes because he tapped on the window." And Gary says, "Boyfriend? Question mark. I'm not getting you in trouble for being here, am I?
He didn't even know she had a boyfriend.
But why would he even insinuate being because he knows that it's a situation that if
that he shouldn't be in.
Yeah. You
Which
don't
is
put yourself in, unless he is a pre-existing friend that Mark knows
about. Yeah.
That's fine. But this is fucking wrong.
Which is why I think that conversation, that argument they get in is so realistic and so warranted. Like Mark is like, you have a random guy in your room.
Imagine you in a dorm room with an attractive woman and Katie walks in, you're like, dude, I'm just studying. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Oh my God, she'd kill you.
With a girl that she doesn't know. Like, she doesn't know her at all.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Ryan's getting uncomfortable just thinking about it. He's like, I didn't do this.
I'm with you guys. I
call
agree.
Katie, no matter what you've heard.
Yeah. Mark goes to the Pentagon to check on Rick and William. They're in the White Room. Cecil shows him Rick. He's all messed up, but he will survive. He's just going to be part robot.
This is the first time he has been in the White Room.
No.
Mark has.
No, because he even says, like, oh, is this that White Room? The first time we see it is when, like, issue 12 or whatever, after he gets beat up.
He took someone else into the White Room to introduce it.
That was Mark.
Was it Mark?
Yeah. Because remember, they turn the lights on or off or whatever, and it's the Immortal laying there. Like, you see that, and it's a 2-page spread. I believe.
Why would her door be closed? Why wouldn't she say, "Hey, I have a boyfriend. Don't make it weird." Like, we're literally just studying. Like, this is a situation.
That sounds like we cut in and cut out.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm reading thoroughly now, and it's just like really bothering me. Mark is saying, "Would you have told him about me if I hadn't have shown up?" And she's like, "I'm sure it would have come up in conversation. I'm not trying to hide anything." Why wouldn't you just say it right off the bat? Oh, I have a boyfriend.
I think the big thing is it's the room. If they weren't in her room, I don't think it's that bad. But
Agreed.
I agree. Like, as he went into the room and sits down on the bed, she should be like, all right, just so you know, though.
Why the fuck did she go out and meet him in the hallway? Why didn't she open up the door? Hey, Mark, hey, this is this guy here, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
She, like, goes out and closes the door behind him and stuff like that. Fuck you, Amber.
It's malicious.
I'm glad that...
Obviously, we know that, I mean, while she hasn't done anything wrong yet, she is kind of frustrated with what's going on with Mark.
Right, so why can't she just admit that she put herself in that position because she was lonely and wanted male
that never
companionship?
happens.
I'm not talking about
sex. It never
sex.
happens.
You know what?
People don't communicate the way they should.
On the new reader with Brittany and Liz, Brittany hates Amber.
Yeah.
She hates her.
Yeah.
And I never really understood why, because I always kind of liked her, but now reading this shit, I'm like, I fucking agree with you.
Well, this is where it starts to get bad, though.
Yeah. But she never liked her. From the beginning,
she never
because
did.
she always loved Eve.
Because she always loved Eve, yeah.
I never liked her, even the first time I read this. Like, I've never liked Amber.
Yeah.
I don't like how she... I understand it must be difficult dating a superhero like Mark, who doesn't have the time to spend as much time as he should with her. But you're dating a fucking superhero. You gotta have that understanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she didn't have that understanding.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I never really cared for Amber.
Yeah, but just because she didn't have that understanding doesn't mean she's a bad person or she was wrong. They tried. It didn't work.
I don't know.
She couldn't handle it. She wasn't comfortable with
I'm not
that.
saying she's a bad character.
With the deal.
She's a very real character. She's a very, she has emotions. I feel like this person could exist, no problem. But I just don't like her.
Yeah. All right. This issue ends with
again.
Yeah, this issue ends with two big things. One, Amanda and Robot
are officially dating.
Are officially dating. She's excited that they get to grow old together, but or at least have a few years together before she gets too young. And then Robot's like, actually, I've been working on something, and I think I have a fix for that. And then the issue ends with D.A. Sinclair with his broken, wired-up jaw sitting in a cell, and somebody talking to him saying that, I'm actually impressed with your work. I'd like to offer you a job. And it is Cecil.
He says the U.S. government would like to... The United States government would like to offer you a job.
Making way for issue 50.
Yep. And so, that was issue 37, leading the way to 50. So that was, planned in advance.
Telescria. Next issue.
Cool cover.
Issue 38 is the NASA. What was his name? Was it Armstrong?
Russ Wooten?
I almost
Russ
said
Wooten is the.
Russ Livingston.
Russ
That's
Livingston.
not Russ Livingston, though.
Yes, it is.
That's the real Russ Livingston.
That's the real one. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. You're right.
Russ Livingston is Shapesmith, right?
Yeah, Shapesmith is pretending
He's
to be
not the
Russ.
real Russ Livingston.
Right, yes.
So yeah, it starts on Telescria. The last time we saw Alan, he got fucked up by some Viltrumites.
He got fucked up.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've seen him since, and he
Is jacked
is now the Rock.
Yep.
So now this is where you kind of learn that as he gets injured, he heals much stronger than
And he
was.
could be as strong, if not stronger, than a Viltrumite with some training.
He's told this by, I want to say Argyle.
Thaddeus.
Argyle is like the OG.
The
Viltrumite.
OG.
Right.
Thaddeus. Thaddeus is the guy. I sound like
He's the leader of the coalition. Go on, TJ. He's the guy.
This is the guy that I feel like they could easily do an Invincible prequel series
Interesting.
with him as a main character. Just the whole uprising. He even talks about he was the first person who ever uprised, who ever like stood against the Empire.
Yeah.
And he thought he was like an anomaly. He didn't think anybody else would follow him, but it didn't go.
Yeah,
that way.
I'd like to see why and what happened for him to get to
That
that
would be
point.
an awesome
That's cool,
prequel.
TJ. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So he turns the page and he says, I am a Viltrumite. And this is when we find out that. And he pulls off a fake beard.
Which, like, the most telling point of, like, prove that you're a Viltrumite. He pulls off his beard and he's just got a mustache. Oh, clearly he's a
Because
Viltrumite.
I am a Viltrumite. And he, like, yells it.
I am a
Later-
Viltrumite. Look at my mustache.
Later in the series, there's a name for this reveal. It was something like it was like the Viltrumite Tuck something. It's like Tuck something. I forgot what it was, but we'll get to it. Just remember I said that.
Okay. Question. So Viltrumites can't grow beard hair? Like they can only grow mustache hair?
No, I think they can. I remember Nolan having one.
Yeah. Nolan had a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark has had a beard.
It's they shave it because it's tradition for them. It's like they're an alien race,
So
they don't ever keep.
So
facial
why
hair.
didn't he just...
Grow a
Oh,
beard.
wait a minute. Does he ever put his beard back on?
It's his
I was gonna say
disguise.
if he just,
Disguise.
I was gonna say if he just tore it off, then that'd be badass.
No, I was thinking that.
He just rips the beard off.
Why doesn't he have a fucking real beard then? Why do he have a fake beard?
You know, I
I
was
don't
thinking
like that.
I have a feeling that Thaddeus is a Viltrumite. No. He has a beard, you idiot.
Of course he's not.
It would have been way cooler if he fucking tore that off. Like if it showed him tug and then like rip.
Yeah.
And then he's like, look at my mustache, isn't it compelling?
And he's just bleeding from the chin.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Because I am a Viltrumite. But reading it the first time, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, what?
Well, I guess.
I guess so.
Like, but I mean, he could have just shaved the mustache and just had neither. Now that you say that.
Whoa.
But I guess that's so against his culture that he doesn't want to go that far.
But
covering up the fact that he's a Viltrumite by having a beard,
I mean,
works.
he went against his entire, like, the whole culture of being a Viltrumite. There was nothing to be proud of in his eyes because he defected.
True.
So who cares if he has a mustache?
I don't know.
They can
This
grow
is one of
beards.
those situations where I picture Kirkman in my ear, like, just fucking move on.
Move on.
just move on, please. All right, next is Rick Sheridan talking to Donald.
I still think about, like, when we interviewed him, we brought up the spaghetti monster. He's like, you guys talk about that all the time.
I love it. Rick talking to Donald, who reveals that yes, he does in fact sympathize with him because he is also an android. He didn't know for years, and then this is our first time rereading this after reading Brit and knowing how that happened to Donald and that he is in fact an android. So that was a cool scene, giving Donald some screen time. Then there's a lot of Amber with her group of friends, and they start talking about how Mark is like, why do you even like Mark? He's never around. It's really weird that he's never around. And they tell her, like, you should just date that guy you like. And she shoots him down. She says that she's in love with Mark. Mark was actually outside for some of that. He basically says, I heard you say that you would never cheat on me. They joke about how he doesn't actually have super hearing. And Mark apologizes for that little argument that they got in earlier. And she assures him that Gary is just a nice guy. There's nothing there. Then Mark decides to go out with Amber and all of her friends. They go bowling, see a movie, grab some food, and all that kind of stuff. This is also where the Lizard League is introduced.
The Lizard League.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I always forget how much I like the Lizard King, and that might sound weird, but I like his character. I don't know.
King Lizard?
Yeah, I think he looks really cool. I love his design.
Yeah, he's cool. Mm-hmm. I like him. I like that he was in prison, and Supreme Lizard tries to take control, and the Lizard King just kills him.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Oliver in a while. He is now what is that? Bill, how old is Oliver right there?
He's 4 years
He says,
old.
"Okay, I love you, Mommy Debbie."
I was 3, and now I'm 4 years old.
No, I'd say he's probably 5.
About that age.
I mean, but he's writing and like.
Well, yeah, but he's super smart for his age.
True.
And
I'd say
everything
he's
like
5.
that. And
You just want to disagree with me.
Mm-hmm.
He's 4.5.
And at that moment, deep in space, we see.
Russ Livingston.
Yep.
Livingston.
And all he should be saying is what? He should only ever say one word.
Soon.
Yes.
Soon.
And that's it. He shouldn't have any other dialogue other than soon.
Mm-hmm.
Soon.
All right. Mark drops Amber off at her apartment or her dorm. Immortal and Kate went and got married at a quiet wedding, just the two of them. They kind of bash Rex a little bit.
Oh man, that's so brutal.
It's so brutal.
What a fucked up thing. So I'm gonna say it. Rex is congratulating them on their marriage. You know what I mean? It's a little awkward. Like you couldn't have chosen a better girl. He says. You know what I mean? He goes, and then Duplicate's like, good if you had never cheated on me.
Well, no, she says.
The fuck?
She says that's sweet, Rex. If you'd shown me even a little bit of compassion while we were together, maybe we'd still be together. So thanks for being you.
That's fucked up.
That is a little.
So
He's congratulating them.
No. Yes. So Rex congratulates him and her for, whatever. And I would be, if I were immortal, I'd be pissed if, like, my girlfriend or fiance wife went up to her ex and said, maybe if you show me a little bit of compassion, we'd still be together.
No, I think that was meant as a slap to the face, so he was probably like, yeah, fuck you.
No, that would make me mad. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean you might still be together? No, you love me. There's no chance of a... And then she bashes Rex, so she, like, fucks...
No, I don't think so. I didn't take it like that at all. I think Immortal was like, yeah... Well, I mean...
I know he didn't take it that way, but I would take it that way.
That's his personality, and that's why they didn't work out. I don't know. I never took it that way.
Then Cecil shows up to interrupt the party and say, hey, there's a spaceship headed from Mars. And then this issue ends with one of the best endings to an issue. I love this ending.
It was very random.
Which is why I love it.
It's good.
Yes.
I agree.
Mark has been going through so much shit. He just kind of got, Amber gave him blue balls, essentially, because he tried to go in and spend the night with her.
Out.
What was... Have some fun times.
Have some fun. And he's been going through a lot of shit, and he just shows up at Africa. He never shows that he never says he's going to go there. Nothing else happens to show that this is that he's gonna do this.
And they're not even talking about like anything serious. They're like, oh, your mom's okay? Like, oh, cool.
And he says, oh, it only takes me a few minutes to get here. I just figured I'd swing by. You want to come in? You want to grab something to eat? And she's like, oh, sorry to hear about what happened with your mom. And he's like, yeah, it all worked out.
And then Eve just randomly kisses him.
Whoa. Eve just randomly kisses him?
Yes.
I love how you interpreted it that way.
Yeah.
Eve randomly
because that's
kissed him.
literally what they talk about.
That's sultry.
They have that conversation in this volume. They're
Temptress.
like, so you thought I kissed you. I thought you kissed me.
I always took it as she kissed him.
No, that is a mutual kissing there. But the two panels, that pause where they both kind of like look at each other, and then that splash page of them kissing, which is one of the best splash pages.
Look at Eve's butt. Look at Eve's butt.
Look at Mark's butt.
Oh wow! It's very like it's got like a point to it.
Oh, it's an angle. It's his hip.
But the reason why I always took that is because Eve has always, like, we've known that Eve's been in love with Invincible for a long time. Ever since her and Rex
her standing outside the window while him and Amber
kissed. That was part
kissed.
of the reason why I feel like she went to Africa. She couldn't stand to see him and Amber together.
Right, we talked about that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I feel like she went in for the kiss.
But he also just went there for no reason. Like it's
that's
clear
what
that
I think that's
it's clear
what
it's mutual.
That's what told Eve, like, he's here for a reason.
Yes,
I'm gonna give him a little something.
But he kissed back.
Little something.
What's great?
I agree that he kissed.
What's
back.
great about this is that just 2 pages prior,
everything was fixed.
Everything was like fixed. Like you're
Mark
like,
fixed it.
Okay, so Amber's like and him are like, what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. All right, issue 39. This cover. Is this the cover that
Mike Barrett owns it?
Yeah, which is in the sketchbook section, Ottley talks about how it took him forever to do this cover.
It looks like it.
Yeah. Yep, starts off, Cecil's pissed off, and then Shapesmith gives the story about the Sequids and that they're a hive mind and what happened with Russ Livingston, and Cecil was pissed off that they left an American citizen on Mars to be attacked by parasites. He has to figure out the team to go up into Mars or into space to help stop this, and then we get the aftermath of the kiss. But yeah, they both this is where they're both like, but you, I thought didn't you? And then Mark's like, I can't do this right now. I couldn't do this to Amber. It's wrong. I won't do it. And then Cecil interrupts, and Mark's like, oh, thank God. And says that he needs help. And
see, it's just lighthearted. It's like light, and just
Mark is being goofy. Like he's he's being younger. Like,
this breaks my heart.
Yeah,
right here, God, like Eve looking at them holding hands.
Yeah, because Mark needs to fly faster, so he grabs her hand, and her just looking at it.
Oh,
if you look in this picture here, it looks like she's still trying to make out.
Yeah, she's like trying to kiss him.
So yeah, Cecil explains that since the Sequids attach to hosts, only people with skin or hide or whatever surfaces strong enough to withstand the Sequids are going to be going on this mission, which means that Robot, Monster Girl, Immortal, Bulletproof, and Black Samson are going on the mission along with Mark and Eve, because Eve will be able to make her suit dense enough, which means that Rexplode, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray have to stay behind.
Yeah, it's very I think it's cool that all the big superheroes go off, and what if something happens?
Yep, which is what Mark's like, or Cecil's like, we're leaving soon. Next page, splash page of the shuttle launching. Robot's actually in the robot suit. There's a scene with Amber getting pissed off, breaking the telephone because
he doesn't have a time for her.
Sorry, I gotta save the world. Yeah, I know.
Fuck you.
She is I don't like her.
I don't like her.
And then she calls Gary.
And then she picks up the phone.
Goes, beep,
calls
beep,
Gary.
boop, boop, beep, beep, boop. It actually says beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, boop.
It says boop, beep.
Whatever, same thing. So what? She had him on speed dial this whole time.
I was just about to say that.
You're right. Yep.
2 buttons.
Yeah,
she was star
no,
1.
It looks like star 3. Gary was speed dial number 3.
That's fucked
God, do you remember
up.
having speed dial? I remember having that. Like, you have certain people memorized to certain numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like favorites. Meanwhile, deep in space, Mark says while they're sitting there, so do you want to talk about it? And he's like, no, not really. And Mark's like, oh, okay, so the shuttle's pretty cool. Another great comedic moment.
Ryan.
The Lizard League attacks the missile silo. Yeah.
So they kind of overtake it. So the Lizard League has control over all the missiles. They can cause a nuclear war right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they say they're going to demand if they don't meet their demands, they will.
They're going to send off some missiles.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. Cecil finds out about the Lizard League taking over and says that he's got a mission for Rex, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray. Meanwhile, the shuttle approaches the ship. Go for it, Bill.
Just Robot saying, there it is. And then Mark like, fire phasers!
Robot. I'm going to ignore the phasers comment. Shapeshifter. What's a phaser? But the Martian ship attacks them. Eve tells everybody to get in close, and she creates a bubble to protect them all. And they're stranded in space in Eve's bubble. This is like crazy. Everything like...
Yeah, things are escalating rather quickly on
Are these
Earth.
the last 2 issues that we're reading? Is there only 2 left?
2? I feel like it is 2.
40 and 41?
And these ones
Is that right?
are freaking doozies.
Yeah, these 2 issues are crazy. So, Bulletproof, I love how he's panicking. He's like, I can't breathe in here. They end up deciding that all the flyers can push against the bubble. Eve's going to create a seal up against the ship, and Mark's going to punch through it. Eve seals up the hole against against space and like passes out practically because she's never had to exert herself this much. Bulletproof smashes a sequid, which alerts the hive mind that they're there, and they're immediately swarmed.
Like, immediately.
Mm-hmm. And the Immortals' plan is to just crush all of them. Meanwhile, in Anderson, Wyoming, King Lizard is going on about his great plan. About what they're going to do and how it's a foolproof plan. And then, tick.
It was just a really weird, awkward pause there.
Long,
You just black eyes.
Pregnant pause. Everybody checked their phones to make sure it was still playing.
Oh, man.
No, I wasn't sure if you were going to take it. Shrinking Ray, because I couldn't think of his name quick enough.
I couldn't either. I knew you were waiting for me to say his name,
and neither of us
know it either.
Shrinking Ray
hits the button,
opens the blast door, and then in one of the best single pages of Rexplode's entire life, he charges in with an army of duplicates behind him.
Oh, you have some cool moments.
This is one of the coolest moments of his. Mm-hmm. I picture this. I picture him fighting Octoboss, and then obviously him charging up.
Oh, dude, fucking Multipol.
The Multipol fight.
That's gonna be in the next one.
Next trade. So, yep, they start fighting. It's a great fight scene. Komodo starts bashing duplicates' heads together. We cut back to...
He's like killing everybody.
Yeah.
He's fucking like destroying. He's literally killing everybody.
We cut back to space. Russ Livingston's there. Robot figures out to make a shockwave of sound that temporarily throws all the sequids off, stuns them, stuns Russ, and they all get in Eve's bubble again because they are just being overrun and it's not working. So they have to come up with a new plan. Amber is out on a date, but it's not a date, Bill. It's not a date because she's dating Mark. Don't shake your head. It's not a date. Mm-hmm. But it's a date. Mm-hmm. Gary turns down going into work because he's with her. Amber appreciates that.
Gary. This is the reason why I always think that William is Gary.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why, but I feel like Gary had to have come from somewhere.
Yeah, I guess. This is where Komodo kills all of the Kates. Previously, earlier, when Rex was screaming out to Kate, she's like, hey, as long as there's at least one of me, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And Komodo kills every last one of them. Yeah, he's just covered in blood. There's pieces of duplicate everywhere.
So what if number 27 lives? Because there's I'm just picking a number.
I think
out.
it's fine. That's fine.
And then that's the new one.
It's just the numbers don't matter. The numbers are just...
Okay, I don't like that.
It's just like the Mauler twins.
Right, I know. But what I'm saying is that I would hate to be Duplicate because her consciousness isn't split
divided.
between this way. It's not divided.
Oh, you think it's all new consciousness?
Or do you think they're all new?
I think.
No, because if it's divided, then...
What if every time she splits, everything up to that moment is just a new person?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So her zero has no memory of anything.
But so, I mean, she could go in there being number 1, right? The original one, and then die.
Wait, you think that once a new one is created, they don't have any past memories?
No, I'm saying they would.
No, they
I'd
would.
say they only have all the past ones. Yeah. They don't share from that on, though.
Right.
Like Zero, that we later find out is alive right now, doesn't know what happened in this room. She knows that they all died, obviously, but she wasn't there. She doesn't.
Right. So that proves that each and every one of the... I'm saying that it's very much like in The Prestige.
Oh yeah.
Like it's that scary cloning thing where like, yeah, you'll live on, but you die, bro. Like, yeah.
I know. That's fucked up.
So, I mean, that's her power, is to go in and just overwhelm people while some of them are going to die.
Yes.
Is it going to be you? Is it going to be the...
I know, because they all have consciousness.
I would always just stay back. I'd stay in the corner, and then I'd make copies of myself.
That's what
you
she
guys
did.
Go.
That's literally what she did. Before this mission happened, she put a 0 aside and sent out a 1. And that 1 made a ton of copies.
But wouldn't that 1 be like, nah, I'm not gonna fucking...
But then wouldn't the 2 be like, no?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But they know they're clones, so maybe they just have a different drive.
They just don't...
They're a hero. They're a superhero, Bill.
But think about it. Rex Explodes there. I mean, like...
Yeah, and he's the only one.
He's the only
That's
Rex
the whole
Explode.
point.
But Duplicate her power is to just be a lot.
Yeah. So she has to face that. Each one of them has to face it the same way that Rex does. I agree with you, but I feel like every once in a while you should see a Duplicate just running away.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm out, you guys.
The odds of at least one of them.
I will say that's very, like, that says something about the Duplicate that calls out and says, don't worry about it, as long as there's one of me, all the other Duplicate are like, fuck you, like, I don't want to die.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Shrinking Ray is obviously pissed off about this too. He jumps up at Komodo and says, I'll make you pay. Komodo says, you know what you are? Dessert. And then pops him in his mouth and eats him. Rex, this isn't happening. He throws a baton. And
his batons, boomsticks.
Boomsticks, you're right.
Extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Like, when they first, like, run into the room, a couple pages back, that shit fucking explodes. Like, that's a huge explosion.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's bigger than a ball. You know what I mean? So it's obviously the explosion should be
and this
bigger.
And this explosion...
That was just a marble.
Oh, no.
Marble?
Was it a marble?
No, it was like a golf ball.
I think he says that was just a pebble. I don't know. It was something.
It might have been golf ball.
That was like second issue, right?
Second issue, yeah.
Remember when he charged the scientist's glasses and flicked him?
Oh, my God.
Remember that? Did
by
that blow?
accident, he ticked them, like, by accident. He touched him, and it blew his head off.
His head off, yeah.
This kills Iguana and I think it's Chameleon, and blows himself back and badly injures him. He's also been slashed at this point by Iguana. Eve is having a hard time keeping the bubble intact. TJ, you ready for this? Here, I'll look at this. You
ready.
Hand me that.
So... everyone is dead except for Rex Explode. King Lizard puts a gun to the back of...
We were all wrong. That was a BB. You don't want to see what I can do with a golf ball.
I thought you were right about golf balls in some way. He says...
Did you say that? Did he bite his arm off yet?
He says, "I'm going to take you out." He has a ball charge, and then the Komodo says, "No, you're not," and he bites his hand off. He puts
the ball in his mouth, and then he bites down on his hand.
I don't.
No, he doesn't.
Komodo puts the ball in his mouth.
Komodo takes his hand and puts it in his mouth.
Komodo has his hand.
Look at this panel, dude. He grabs his hand and puts it in his mouth.
Yeah, I suppose. Fool. He blows his own fucking head off. He knows what Rex can do.
Well, he's obviously stupid.
Yeah,
apparently.
he's a big brute.
So he bites Rex Explode's hand off, but in Rex Explode's hand was a ball that he was currently charging. So Rex lost his hand, but Komodo lost his fucking head.
Yep.
Because it exploded. he hits the ground, and
God,
Rex is like
he's
slowly crawling away.
He's crying.
He's like, I can't do this. I can't. He said, some would call, and then King Lizard goes, some would call it cowardice. I prefer to think of it as intelligence. Does one remain in the thick of the battle, risk personal injury, even death to help ensure a favorable outcome for his side? Or does he wait in safety, hidden until the battle is over and the victor is either on your side or too weary and injured to put up a fight? So basically, King Lizard was kind of like waiting for all the chaos to be done.
Yeah, wait till it dies down and then finish him off.
And then he said, I suggest you say a prayer.
And puts
a
gun
to the back of Rexplode's head. And like Rex is like turned around the opposite way. Like it's very like...
Yeah.
Like execution.
Yeah.
Execution.
He's being executed.
And that's the last we see of Rex in this issue. Meanwhile, the dome is now completely covered in sequids. Eve is having a hard time keeping it up. Immortal's demanding she keeps it up because the entire human race rests on her shoulders. And Mark's like, it's okay, Eve, you can do this. Just try to do it whatever you can. And Eve passes out, and they say, oh, crap. And that's how that issue ended. Covered issue 41 is Mark in a parade, which is fun because they talk about the parade in this issue, but you never actually see the parade.
Yeah, I like that. That's the cover
cool?
of it. Yeah.
All right. Last issue in this volume. Shapesmith surrounds Robot because we didn't talk about it. What Robot was trying to do was take his suit and amplify that pulse wave, that sound wave, to just be a bigger, sound wave to stop the sequids and Russ. And so Shapesmith covers him up to protect him because he's out of his suit. And meanwhile, everybody else is fighting back the sequids. Robot finishes the device, hands it off to someone. Anyone take this. Immortal goes to take it, and then Mark stops him and says, no, I'm stronger than you, I'm faster than you, and it's just far too important to let ego get in the way. And he takes off, dodging sequids, and flies up to Russ Livingston and activates the device, causing all sequids, including the ones attached to him, to pass out. Then they begin to escape the ship. Meanwhile,
we go
back at the silo.
Rexplode, and he said, just do it. Or Rexplode is with a gun to the back of his head. He says, just do it. Go ahead and pull the trigger. And then King Lizard goes, don't mind if I. And then like,
blam!
He shoots the gun, but it kind of like I take it as Rexplode moves a little bit, but it still goes through
because he also hits
skull.
him.
Right, he hits him. He goes whud and hits him,
and it hits King Lizard, but the bullet still goes through his skull, and he kind of gets up and he's like fighting, but he's obviously very weak. He just got hit. He just got shot in the head. So
and he's like, shoot me?
And he's like fumbling his words. He slaps the gun out of King Lizard's hand, but he's still fighting. And he's like, you don't have the strength to fight me. And he's like, shut up. And he punches King Lizard in the face.
Knocks him out.
And he ends up kind of beating King Lizard. And then he falls to the ground on top of King Lizard. And then randomly Britt shows up and he's like, oh, here, I'm ready to fight. But he's way too late and everybody's already dead.
King Lizard's still alive though. He shoots Britt in the head and he gets on the comms and says, yeah, I think one of them's still alive.
Yep.
That is easily the best moment Rex ever gets.
Besides the ending.
Disagree.
I also disagree. That was way better, dude, because his moment in what comes up
in issue 60. I mean, we're talking spoilers. Maybe. This is the point of doing this reread.
Okay, so his death and his sacrifice, it was one panel. This was like
True.
This was like I mean, if you break it down, it's almost one whole issue of him.
Multiple issues.
Literally going
you mean
from
if it's
together. If it was all put together, like him starting off strong,
the reactions to everybody dying,
and just like continuing to go. Like this shows way more endurance than
I feel like,
which I'm sure 60 would have had more, but there's so much going on in the issue. What made Rex's sacrifice in that issue so cool was that it was like boom, and now he's gone. Like what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this just
what makes this good is that this is the first time you really see Rex as an actual hero.
Yeah.
I feel like
it was kind of like coming to his redemption, which is kind of the point.
He took charge of the team,
which was kind of the point of
he was the leader.
Duplicate reminding the readers like, hey, you were kind of an ass to me. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, he got his hero moment.
Yep.
The Martians want to keep Shapesmith because he's the one that
him?
because he's the one that caused all this.
So they all save him.
So yeah, the Guardians decide to save him. They fly away. Mark leaves the ship and does an awesome. There's an awesome splash page of him.
Another iconic.
Yeah.
This is another iconic page of art that always comes up about Invincible with the explosion in the background.
He has Immortal congratulates him, says he actually did a really good job out there. Him and Eve have another moment where they talk about how they thought they were kissing each other, and Eve's like, "So you think there was something to that?" Then Mark back on Earth spies on Amber and Gary, and Gary's kind of saying, "Hey, your boyfriend's not around. Like, I'm here. He's not." And Mark's kind of seeing this. There was a funeral for Duplicate. Immortal is grieving. Bulletproof says that, that if only we could have found her brother. Or Immortal says, I wish we could have found her brother. Just teasing that. Mm-hmm. Immortal thought they would have had more time together. And then there's essentially the breakup between Mark and Amber. We've talked about it. They basically cover all of that. Like, they both understand. Mark says, "Hey, I've got all this stuff to tell you. I think I'm actually gonna, pursue that relationship with Eve after all, blah, blah, blah." And Amber's like, "Yeah, I was actually gonna say the same thing, except for the Eve part." So it's mutual.
And then at the end they say, she said, "I did miss you a bunch, though. One last cuddle." And he said, "Sure, now cuddle."
Oh, they did it. They did it. Clothes came off.
I think they did have relations.
They had relations.
Yeah. Of a kind.
A great scene with Mark and Rex. Mark's like, "Oh man, you look terrible," and Rex is like, "Yeah, I've been through hell, and I heard they threw you a parade, jerk." And Rex gives him a hard time, but he's like,
he says he was just kidding.
I'm fucking with you.
At the same time, though, I'd kind of be like, I'm not saying it's
but it's obviously hush hush. He's not allowed to.
For sure. But that's got to be tough.
And I love it. He's like, I saved the world too, and I was shot in the head. Where the hell is my parade?
Yeah, that's got to be tough, though.
Yeah.
I know he says he's just kidding, but I'd be a little.
Yeah. Mark's like, "No, it's not you. I just broke up with my girlfriend today." Rex is like, "Been there, done that." And then this volume ends with, Say it, Bill.
Soon.
Russ Livingston.
The real Russ Livingston coughs up a multiple sequence, and they attach to him, and he says, "Soon."
But he doesn't really.
So that does it for Volume 8. Next up is Volume 9.
Weird.
Which is like, I know we got Multipol coming up. What else? I'm trying to remember Volume 9. Just look at the cover.
Ooh, new color.
Oh, this is Anissa. Anissa's entrance. Some more Alan. Flipping through real quick. Cool.
Oh, Oliver. A lot of Oliver stuff.
What issues is this? You'll say on the back. Collects issues
42 through 47. This is where I started.
42 through 47.
Or this is where I started collecting the comics.
Yes. This trade ends
Nessa.
where we started reading it initially.
Anissa. You keep saying Anissa.
All right.
Anissa.
That is.
You said Voltramite.
That is next month. So now let's see. We got a little bit of time for some other stuff. Let's see what else we've been.
Other stuff.
We got the stuff show with the guys talking about other stuff.
So, what have you been watching, playing, reading, seeing lately?
Watching? Okay, so...
Yeah, let's talk about TV shows.
All right, Santa Clarita Diet came out.
Okay.
And I've watched the first 3 episodes, and that's it. I can't believe I haven't watched more.
I finished it.
You did?
So...
Please don't.
No. The only... Definitely my least favorite season. I'll just say that. Not that it's bad, But the thing is with it too is that they're like 20-minute episodes, and there's only 10 episodes. So I wasn't even trying to
That's
binge
every
it.
season, dude.
I know, but I wasn't even trying to binge it. Like that night that we went out to eat, I went home and I watched 3 episodes. Woke up the next morning, watched 3 episodes. That night, watched 3 episodes, and then I woke up the next morning. I watched the last episode. It was done. Like I was like
that sounded like you binged it.
3 episodes though is like an hour.
Yeah.
So I watched an hour here, I watched an hour there, and then I was done.
But that's what makes Santa Clarita so great, is that it's short and sweet, and like it's not. At no point are you like, I'm bored.
I will say this: Drew Barrymore's character, she's the reason why I didn't like this season like as much as the other ones.
Wow, really?
Because she's always getting in the way, like more so than I don't know.
All right.
Watch Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah.
It is good. It is very good.
We already mentioned Umbrella Academy with Wyatt. What we didn't bring up with Wyatt, and I know he's advocate of it, along with Mike Barrett, was Love, Death, and Robots.
You mean Love, Sex, and Robots? Love, Death, and Sex.
Sex,
Death, and Robots.
Sex, and sex.
We actually, the 3 of us actually got to watch
We got halfway through.
Yeah, it's 19 episodes. We watched 8 of them together last night. And so all we've seen is the first half, and we're going to set another date where we can watch the other half. Did you guys like it?
My initial reaction, and I think a really great anthology series makes you want to continue to watch, and that's what it did.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. There are episodes that I thought were fucking awesome, and then there are some that I think were just meant to just be like quick little things that were just like,
little stories,
whatever. But yeah, I really enjoy it to the fact where I'm mad that I'm not allowed to watch anymore.
Yeah.
You know, until we watch it.
It reminded me of, I think we talked about this. I think it was called Gotham Knights, which was an animated movie that came out in 2008.
That's what when Batman Begins came out, they released the DVD with it.
It took place between Begins and Dark Knight, right?
Yeah, and it was just a whole bunch of Batman short stories, and it was all directed by different people, all animated by different animators. Same exact idea, but it was all Batman related, obviously. Love, Death, and Robots is the same idea, except none of the stories are connected that we know of anyways.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
There's a little bit of a connection there that I don't want to spoil to anybody. That I feel like
there are similarities here and there that they.
There's a connection there
maybe
that I think is overarching.
Comics. I read Buffy. I read all 3 issues.
All 3?
I texted it to you. Within the first few pages of the first issue, I was completely taken back by the writing, because the writing. Buffy the show, Joss Whedon and the writers and stuff like that created a. I'm still wearing my headphones. That was weird. That was probably why I was shouting. Joss Whedon and the writers of that show created like a language for them, and they all talk a certain way. It's almost like Aaron Sorkin, how he like his characters talk a certain way.
Right.
So there's that Buffyism type of talk, and
you don't like reading it.
It doesn't work in text. Now here's the thing.
You texted me that, and I'm like, didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize.
But you saw what I meant.
I understand what you were saying, but it never bothered me. And I felt like it worked for me. It made it better.
Here's the thing. I got used to it, but every time I would be reading a conversation and it would pop up, I'd have to read that speech bubble like 2 or 3 times, because I'd be like, how are they saying this? It doesn't sound like they're speaking correct English grammar as I do the same thing right now.
I just read it. Like, I don't even
really.
I don't think about it.
It doesn't flow well for me, I think. But other than that, I think it's really cool. I love how it's like it's like an alternate universe.
Things?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's really
so
cool.
Good.
I love how it's like, hey, we got all the same actors back. They all didn't age a bit, and we're gonna reshoot the entire series, but for fun and just do things differently. And that's what it feels like.
Up with Drusilla.
Yeah,
like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I read the Umbrella Academy comics, the first volume, just to kind of see how it related to the show, and it was almost completely different.
That's what I heard.
And in a good way though. And movies. I saw Dumbo.
Ooh,
did you?
Really?
As a Disney fan, and I actually like all the live action movies. I heard nothing going into this, and I left it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was like the first live action Disney movie that I left and I was like, I don't like this. I mean, Katie liked it. It
I was
just
never excited for it. I don't know if
it
I'll
feels
see it.
Why did they
weird.
make it? Like, I don't understand why Tim
I
Burton
don't
would be like,
know.
I would like to remake Dumbo out of all of the Disney
And the
movies.
whole
you can
time,
fucking
Tim
make.
Burton does that nowadays, though. Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Who would think that he would do that?
Charlie, but I'm saying anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Tim Burton, you could be like, I want to fucking make like Hercules
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
or fucking Atlantis.
But like,
You know what I mean?
it felt like that the whole time. The whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, why did they make this? Like, it never really hit.
Yeah,
All
like,
the actors
why?
kind of feel like they had Tim Burton being like, act like a cartoon, and then Disney being like, don't act like a cartoon. So half the time they're kind of acting like a cartoon character.
A cartoon.
Cartoon. It was really weird. I mean,
You turned into a cartoon character.
Yeah,
that's
you
what
did.
it was. That's what it was. But just for a second there, right? Okay. Shazam is this weekend.
Shazam,
Excited.
Pet Cemetery.
I have been so nervous for Shazam, like ever since the first trailer. But now that I'm not even nervous anymore because of all the reviews that it's getting.
This
Like
is how-
I'm feeling
it's got-
confident.
That's
It's
how I
got
felt
great
about
reviews.
Aquaman. Like how leading up until to it, I was like, meh. I don't even know. I wasn't even hating. I was like, yeah, it's probably whatever. It's not gonna be bad.
Everything that I saw of Shazam though, even early on, I thought looked great. But I was just nervous. Like, is it great? Or
The
is
only
it a
thing
good
I'm nervous
trailer?
about is the fact that they haven't really shown like
Good.
story with
Good.
the villain. Well, yes, I agree. Good. But that just makes me a little nervous.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get
Like,
it.
it could be bad.
When I first saw the trailer and when I first thought about what it could be, I thought big.
yeah, exactly, which is what I was hoping for.
Tom Hanks.
I've never seen it.
And you've never seen Big? Oh my god. Anyways, but yeah, that's gonna be exciting. This weekend. I read, so I need to start reading because TJ actually brought me back a surprise for my birthday. The 3 trades, 3, 4, and 5 of Spread.
What is Spread?
It's
The comic book he was obsessed with for a while.
I
I have issue 1 of it.
for like 2 years I was reading this shit and it was so fucking good. And then I don't know what happened, but I just stopped like reading it for a little while.
I met the artist at C2E2 and I got the 3, 4, and 5 trades and I got a commission of Azrael for him because that's
Which is
Phil's favorite
Badass.
Batman
It looks
character.
really, really fucking cool.
You'll have to show me that because I don't remember that series.
I don't.
I kind of remember you talking about it, but
We weren't doing the podcast when I
Yeah.
was reading it still, but I was like,
Yes, we
I-
were.
was
We
I?
talked about it on the... Yeah, absolutely.
really?
must have been early on.
Yeah, it had to have been early on.
Before we talk about, oh yeah, Spread. Okay, I remember that now. Before we talk about Avengers, which is what we're gonna wrap it up with, I do want to talk about video games. I started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it took a long time for it to click.
This is like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it came out a year ago about.
yeah.
It took a long time for it to click. Well, I just started playing it, so. But I'm enjoying it so far. I just downloaded Celeste on my Switch. I'm excited to play that. And there are a lot of VR games coming out for PSVR, TJ. And there's just a bunch of hands-on. Apparently, the Iron Man game is awesome.
It looks...
It looks bad.
And
really bad. It
and
looks like a
everybody-
rail shooter.
Yes.
It looks like a rail
Yes.
shooter, which is terrible.
I know.
It looks terrible, Ryan.
Everybody said that. Go read all the impressions. Everybody's like, I thought this was going to be a rail shooter. It's open world. You use the controllers as your to fly. You hold them out to shoot. Like, apparently it's really good.
Check it out.
No Man's Sky in VR is going to be awesome. That's supposed to be really good. I don't know. There's a bunch.
I beat
What have
Devil
you?
May Cry.
Did you finally beat it?
I beat Devil May Cry, and it was everything that everybody says it was. Holy shit, the ending. Oh my gosh. The ending was so good. And
Really?
the best thing... I won't say the best thing about the ending, but what had me excited about the ending is that it kind of, not really, but kind of left in a cliffhanger. So... what has me excited about that is that Devil May Cry has been so inconsistent with their releases.
You're worried?
Like, they did like
This
one
game
through...
got such good reviews. They're going to do
Yeah.
another.
But so did DMC. And nothing happened with
I
that.
feel like DMC was kind of like split though, wasn't it? Wasn't there a lot of people that didn't like
DMC
it?
when it got
DMC
announced.
is still my favorite.
When it got announced, nobody everyone was
about
like, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
Like,
Because
what
they
did
did-
they do?
But then it was good, and they're like, oh, we
because
kinda
they
have to
did
like
Devil
it.
they did Devil May Cry 1 through 3 and then did nothing, and then 4 came out like randomly like years later and then nothing, and then they rebooted the whole thing with DMC and then they went back to Devil May Cry 5 going back to the original storyline. Like, it was all over the place, but the fact that this
weird.
ended with such an awesome cliffhanger, it's not a cliffhanger. There was a legit ending.
Yeah.
But there was like
A tease.
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But It's literally like, oh, what happened with this?
Yeah.
They never explained this, so it's going to continue.
Do you think is there going to be expansions or any DLC add-ons?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think that'll answer it?
No, because
Okay.
they also tease what the DLC is. I'm not really excited for it, but
I love DMC. I just recently played that again. I re-downloaded it on my PlayStation.
DMC is still my favorite Devil May Cry.
That's crazy because you love Devil May Cry, and you're talking about the reboot, the Ninja Theory.
DMC was awesome.
It was really.
That's the only one I played other than the first Devil May Cry.
Really, really, really fucking good.
It might be 4. I don't know. DMC and Devil May Cry 4 were amazing.
Bill, what else have you been playing lately?
I don't think anything. To be honest, I've been I got a guitar for my birthday, so I've been playing that for every day.
Maybe someday you can play out the intro to this podcast.
Wait, is that
song?
Oh wait, what is this song? How does this go? Oh yeah, okay, all right. No, I feel like I have been playing something, or I just beat something recently. What games came out recently? Oh my god, did you guys see that there's a new fucking Wolfenstein game coming out?
No. I heard about it, like Brothers or something like that.
No, it's the Daughters or
Daughters.
something like that.
It's
coming out in October, and it's $30, so it makes me think that it's like the Old Blood.
Yeah, it's
like an extended DLC, but it looks fucking awesome, and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I kind of heard everybody raving about it, but I still haven't gotten through it yet.
I just was scrolling through IGN, and it was like a little
Surprise
fucking
drop.
dib thing, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah.
TJ, before we wrap up, what is one thing what is one thing from Avengers Endgame that you want to happen? Next time we record, it will have been after we've seen it. So what is something that you want out of Endgame?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Bill, do you have an answer?
I do. I have an answer. I want the stakes to be real this time, and I want people to actually die. Like, stay dead.
Okay.
Well, I think that's going.
But I don't mean like Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if Rhodes dies. You know what I mean?
Where we're going.
War Machine.
We need Rhodes.
Rhodes. Exactly.
That's pretty great.
Can there be a meme? Can someone please make a meme?
Who knows how to make a meme?
Of like War Machine being like, I'm on my way, and then Iron Man being like, where we're going, we don't need roads. Oh my god, that'd be fucking perfect.
Just don't be predictable, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
everyone's expecting all the older characters, the veteran characters
They're
are going to
dead, and those come
die.
back, yeah.
Like make something.
I feel like we did this a year ago, and I was like, oh, Tony or Cap are going to die. One of them are going to die. And then it really wasn't that at the end. So yeah, I want them to subdue expectations, not be what everybody thinks. But I also we left Infinity War on such a low that I kind of want to leave the theater feeling good. You know what I mean? I'd love for this movie. You know how Star Trek, and we always talk about that, like Mission Impossible Fallout, where you leave the theater and it's like that was a fucking roller coaster. Mm-hmm. I want there to be death in this, and I want it to be sad and impactful. But I also want to leave the theater pumped. I left Infinity War and I was blown away, but it's very sad and depressing at the end.
I think that the whole finale of everything that we're talking about regarding who's coming back and what's going to happen, that's going to be answered at least halfway through the movie. The other half of the movie is going to be them getting you excited for the next phase of the MCU. Building up the new team.
I want to feel good at the end. That's what I want.
I think you will.
Cool. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you Wyatt again for coming on. We will be back in 1 month talking about something else. I have an idea for what our next episode is going to be. I was going to say we're going to be talking about something, but we will be talking Volume 9 of trade paperback, Volume 9 of Invincible, and we'll give our impressions on Avengers.
And we also have a surprise for everybody too.
We do.
I don't know, but now the pressure's on and we have to think of
now we got to
something.
think of a surprise.
Exactly, that's why I did it.
So we'll be back in 1 month. Thank you all for listening. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Our website is theinvinciblepodcast.com. This month's outro song is by Wyatt Layne, and it is In My Nature. This is the first song that we are featuring that wasn't on his album that was recently released, which you can get on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, all that stuff. Thank you all for listening. Bye.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. This guy's carrying the sloth, and it looks like it doesn't know what to do with this.
With a sloth?
Yeah, here, wait, it's I don't know if it's meant to be. I don't know if it's meant to be. He picked it up out of the road. Look at the sloth. He's like, what the fuck, man?
It looks like he's flipping him off.
Wait, it gets better. It's like, where am I? What am I supposed to be doing?
This is my life now.
Fucking sloths, man.